RotoGrinders, Dean here, Dean7904. That is the daily fantasy handle that I hope you'll be taking down some tournaments tonight on either Fanduel or DraftKings. Let's at least min cash. Have a positive night. It's Friday. It's the start of 2+ hours of nonstop MLB DFS talk. Well, I shouldn't say nonstop. We're going to go for 2+ hours. The conversation sometimes will be derailed. This sort of happens that way. Pre-show, we're arguing about bands. Me and Devin arguing about music. Maybe we'll talk about that at some point throughout the show. But yeah, you got 2+ hours, 13 game slate, big boy slate. We got Andre on the road, one-time millionaire winner, Andre, and we also have Tim, the kind of a specialist when it comes to three-man single entry. So we got both best of both worlds to have the conversation. As far as the slate, Andre, first off, how are things in your world? Happy Friday. I know you were talking about either going outside or not going outside. It's too hot to go outside, right?
It's too hot to go outside North Carolina. Like, I don't know how people deal with it. It's not for me. It's just not for me. I like the dry heat. The humidity, it just weighs you down too much.
I'm with you. The sun, I mean, I know we need the sun in theory. Well, not in theory, actually, factually, right? Like, if the sun would no longer exist, I think we would be gone as well. So I appreciate the sun. But, small doses for me. Do want to mention, I'm just taking a peek at the FanDuel lobby. I was looking at this pre-show because all week we've been talking about the single entry, contest, single entry series sponsored by RotoGrinders. And I want to mention this because I know whenever Roth comes on, he mentions it, and it's not his fault, but he gives the read, and it's already gone. Like, people want to play it. They're not aware. Single entry series. Hopefully you've been playing it all week long. If you haven't, well, good luck catching up. But, only your top 4 scores. So if you've missed a day or two, you're perfectly fine. Knock it out in the weekend. Have yourself some good scores. You finish first in this contest collectively as far as your top 4 scores throughout the week. You win yourself a trip to Chicago, $50,000 up for grabs. $10,000 is your first place prize. You'll compete against everybody else that has won their the single entry series. This week is the $5 variety. Taking a peek here, it's 88% full. So it's going to fill. It's going to fill within probably 20 minutes or so. If you want to play in that contest, get in there now. Tim, how about yourself? How are things in your world? Anything to complain about? Is golf tilting you? I feel like I've done bad in golf. I don't know.
I'm always tilting golf on Friday because my guys are missing the cut or my guys aren't doing well. So Friday's usually a good tilt day for PGA.
Yeah, I had some picks that I don't know golfers, but I'm just things I was finding around scores and odd stuff. And then I think a couple of my guys are just missing the cut. Is it going to be +1 or -1 or -2? Do we know just yet, or we're not sure?
It's going to probably be -2.
Oh, that might help.
I do have a Will Zalatoris outright ticket. So he shot really well today. So I'm hoping that he has a great weekend.
I do too. I remember that name typing in. I think Noto wrote him up. What is he currently challenging? Is he in the mix?
Well, he shot 6 under today, so I think he's 7 under total for the tournament. And I think that's currently like 3 shots back. So he's okay. He's in range to do something on the weekend.
Say what's up to the chat. Kindly hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on those notifications. Interactive show. So chime in. Whatever's on your mind, feel free to throw it out there. Hopefully it pertains to the conversation. If not, we'll see if we can make do. Shots fired. B shot right at me. Is Dean ready to apologize to Steven Events Quan? Yeah, I mean, look, what did he put up? 15 points the other day? Congratulations. He needs 9 events to get there. And I don't take it back. You want to point to the scoreboard and Steven Quan. I think you're with me, Tim. Like, you don't roster Steven Quan, do you? Like, rarely.
Not on DK. FanDuel, sometimes he's like 26, 2,700, but I'm never gonna spend like $4,500 on DK.
Let's see. Frank is saying I should change my RotoGrinders profile. I don't. Yeah, I don't. My RotoGrinders profile pic. It's probably like 5 years ago or something. Who knows? It's been a while for sure. And we usually get together and take pictures during the RG party, and we haven't had an RG party for several years because of reasons. Hopefully we'll have one this year going down. What else is going on in the chat? Yeah, the Beat Mean Dean contest is happening today. And it's a weird predicament, Tim. I don't know what to do because I picked somebody and like it's kind of a time crunch, because we're playing tonight. And then now they've ghosted me. It's like,
wow.
Hey, it's like, let's play. And like, you got a chance to win yourself 6 free weeks of RG Premium. Just beat me in head-to-head. Let me know your screen name. Let me know what site you want to play on. Let's do it. And, they're probably in traffic or they're probably at work. Who knows what's going on. But, yeah, I mean, I can't send it like 10 minutes before lock. We live in the world of a salary cap. We live in the world of time where time is a commodity. I don't have time to be messing with this 5 minutes before lock. So hopefully Beefcake 39, if you're out there listening.
I'd say give Beefcake until, an hour before lock to get back to you.
If not, I volunteer as tribute.
Say that again, Andre?
I said, if not, I volunteer myself as tribute.
Oh, all right. Well, you already got RG Premium though.
Yeah, I've been trying to challenge Dean for the last 2 weeks, and he won't let me. So
well, it's not that I won't let you, but I don't see the. What's the point?
I don't see why Devin can't give me like a sweatshirt for beating you, or a hat or something.
He can get you one like as is, like right. If you want a sweatshirt, just ask for one, and you'll get it. Like I think it's that easy. Yeah, and also I see Devin in the chat talking about. We had somebody else. We ran a contest. I believe it was last Friday, actually. Chuck Nasty 69, of course, won himself a free RotoGrinders combo premium with the Fanduel contest. I don't think he finished first. I think he might have finished like 4th or 5th, but everybody in front of him was like RG people. So that's just how that goes sometimes. All right. So yeah, if Darren's out, do I open it up to somebody else? I'm not really sure what to do, but we'll see. I'm trying to give away the premium, and like nobody not that nobody wants it, but no, I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation. But yeah, and Andre, if you want a sweatshirt too, again, I'm sure Devin, somebody in the office will hook it up. They'll make it happen.
I know some people.
Yeah, there you go, Devin. You can make this happen. Get the sweatshirts.
I've been with this company for over 2 years, and the only thing I ever got was a T-shirt.
I've been with this company for 2 years, and all I have to show for it is this mustache.
Right.
That's like one of those like vacation shirts. Like I went on vacation. This is all I got was this lousy T-shirt. Yeah. Well, again, just did you ask them? You got to ask, I think. Or have you been to the office?
I don't like asking.
Well,
I think it's rude, Dean. It's kind of like squatting at somebody's house.
Who would do that? Like that is the height of rudeness, though. But once you squat for 30 days or so, all of a sudden the law is on your side. Not that I checked this out or looked it up or know anything, but yeah, Colorado's looking mighty fine these days. I'm getting pretty comfortable. Hey, all right, let's talk about this slate. Let's kind of dive in, Andre. 13 gamer. It's one of those deals where it's super straightforward for a 13 gamer. We got a core slate. Some of the core prices are goofy and wonky again. Not the two best offenses in the world, but 12 total is legit. There are some really, really good pivot offenses I think that we're talking about. And then pitching, Andre, salary cap is a thing, but it's not hard. It's really not hard if you want to play Scherzer and Rodon. And I think those two guys are in a pretty clear tier of their own. We know lefties against the Pirates is just the nuts. Scherzer is just awesome as is. Philadelphia, of course, without Schwarber as well. So that lineup takes a hit. I believe he was replaced by Brandon Marsh, which is that's certainly an upgrade for sure. Is that what you're seeing as well? Well, what is your screenshot view of this slate, Andre?
Yeah, pretty much. It's a big slate, so you got to take some chances on some other pitchers here. So Scherzer obviously is the number one option, followed by Rendon. I love the matchup with Scherzer. I like the K props. I probably like him for he had 11, I think, against Atlanta last time. I love him for double digits again today. This is my personal opinion, but I do like other guys a little bit like Rendon, who I think is a good option today as well. And then you have some maybe 3 possible options that you can play in tournaments, in my opinion, just because of the matchups that they're in a little bit. Because I'm mainly playing on FanDuel, so that's why. So I pretty much I don't mind taking a shot here and there on a Tyler Mahle today. Obviously going against the Angels, who I think have one of the worst strikeouts, and not the worst strikeout lineup in the league, projection wise. It is striking out. Sorry, waiting for this to come up for a second. They're striking out. Have a strikeout rate of about 25% when they're projected lineup so far on tonight. And then you got Mike Clevenger against Washington. That Washington lineup obviously has not been the same without Juan Soto. So I don't mind taking those two guys today as cheaper options. And if you want to get Luis Garcia against Oakland, I don't mind that as well. But I might try to stick to just the main four that I mentioned before and get a little bit of each of them. But mainly going to be obviously on a guy like Scherzer today because I just don't see how he doesn't have a monster game today.
Devin, I'm sure you're lurking in the chat. Chandler apparently is Chuck Nasty 69. If you can confirm that, we can get him some RG Premium, 1 week free of RG Premium. Does that check out, Tim? Do we buy that? Chandler is Chuck Nasty. Is Chandler like Timothy, Chandler, Chuck?
I don't know. It sounds like that could be sketchy, Dean. I'm not positive.
Dean, it's not my first rodeo here. We're gonna get a screenshot. Don't you?
I need to see the license and social security card.
I'm gonna need to see that 1099.
Oh man. So Andre, just for a second, you talked about it. Like FanDuel specifically is obviously only roster one pitcher, but the Luis Garcia discount, obviously the matchup against Oakland's premium. If you want to open things up as far as salary and like. Again, you can get Rodon at 21% owned right now. We actually have Rodon ahead of Scherzer. He's $600 cheaper as far as ownership. It's pretty close, 21-20 as far as ownership. And then Garcia's next, distinct drop off, almost 2K there for let's see, well more than 2K. UCF math, my apologies. More than 2K. Garcia, we're seeing 10% ownership, and then there's Clevenger. I want to have the conversation about Kopech. Tim, I'll ask you about him in a second. We'll put him on the back burner because I have no idea what to do with that guy. On DK. But yeah, Andre, is your favorite amongst the step downs? You said Garcia, Clevenger, and Molly. I think my favorite is Garcia, but that's also the field's favorite. He's also got that win equity.
No, sorry, no, you're right. So, you got the win equity because it's Houston. So you're right. I personally, my favorite probably might be Tyler Molly of them, just because it's the Angels. And I just don't like they just have a lot of Ks in their lineups, especially on a back half. Like you got Adele at 41, like in a projected lineup, it hasn't come out yet, but 41% strikeout rate for Adele, 31% for Walsh, 31 for Stassi. Rojas is at 28, and then obviously Sierra is at 20, but that doesn't even. I'm not even afraid of that. And if he could just somehow not give up not give up a lot of hard contact, which I know is hard because he does give up a lot, especially to righties. And there's a few that's going to be in this lineup today. I think he can get through it because the strikeout rate isn't too bad. Like I said, 25% to righties and 26% to lefties. So I think there is an opportunity for him to have a good game here and be very valuable. So I think he would just be my favorite personally today.
I see somebody in chat saying that somebody for the Rockies is not in lineup HQ. Winton Bernard. I don't know who Winton Bernard is. Apparently he's playing baseball tonight for Colorado. He's batting 8th, and I don't think he has a salary anywhere. Scrambling right now. I mean, that would be the reason why he's not in lineup HQ because he's not available. And I just clicked on his player card. Normally when you click on the guy's player card, it'll tell you what their salary is in all the different sites, and no salary popped up. I'm on DK right now. Yeah, he's not available. And yes, he does sound like a made-up person, Shannon. I've never heard of him. Maybe it's his MLB debut. Tim, what do you got on Winton Bernard? Well, I guess he's not available, so it doesn't matter. But just for funsies, have you heard of this guy?
I have not, Dean. I do not know who this person is.
Yeah. All right. There. Yeah. And again, not on DK. I presume not on FanDuel as well. Double check that in a second. Tim, let me just kind of run it back to you as far as Rodon versus Scherzer. Do you have a preference amongst the two? And also, look, I know the way you play. I think I know the way you play. We've talked enough. You play single entry, 3-entry max stuff, not massive fields, and I think you're going to double barrel on DK as your main lineup. I think I am too.
I'm not 100% about that, Dean.
Okay.
I really like Kopech today.
Okay.
I mean the Tigers are for DK. I don't think I'm gonna. I mean, I could see doing it in large fields for tournaments, but for FanDuel. But for DK, I'm really considering. I'm gonna do builds with double barreling, and then I'm gonna do builds with Rodon and Kopech. Then I'm gonna do builds with Scherzer and Kopech, and see kind of where that gets me. See what I like the most. But Kopech is absolutely not out of the question for me. He does get the the best matchup in all of baseball. So, I mean, I know that he has not been good, but the matchup, he gets an extreme pitcher's umpire also. There's just a lot of factors working in his favor, and he's dirt cheap on a slate that is really, really large. It's a large slate, and I think you're going to need a lot of bats tonight. So I'm kind of 50-50 right now.
By the way, this Bernard guy for Colorado, 31 years old, and it looks like it's his MLB debut. Like he's played rookie ball in 2012, single A, triple A, double A, all throughout from 2013 and up. So I think he's making his major league. That's just a cool story. You got to respect the grind. Give the guy some MLB shine. Yeah. So let's have a conversation here about Kopech, Tim. And again, you look at not to be the game long guy, but when was the last time he's had 5 or 6 strikeouts? Is it 6? We were talking about it earlier today, myself and Grant on the Scores and Odds show. And last night when I was looking at stuff, I'm like, oh, I'm going to hammer Kopech. These, the books are going to be off on him because they're going to look at recency, whatever. And they had him at 5.5 and all this juice in the over. And I'm like, geez, I can't do it.
Yeah, the bat has him for 6 2/3 strikeouts, so 6.7. So, I like I said, for FanDuel, I'd rather play Garcia. I also really like Andre's argument on Molly. I think that's a really good play for tournaments. But I would prefer pitching Garcia on FanDuel because he's only $500 more. So I think you can pretty easily get the safety. Garcia is going to get the quality start and the win, So on FanDuel, I'd rather play Garcia.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the cheat code matchup as far as Kopech against Detroit. If you throw the ball with your right hand against Detroit, you're well positioned to have yourself a good night. 4 strikeouts last time out, 3, 4, 2, 4, 5, 6, 2, 4, 0, 1, 4, 2, 4. It's been terrible. And I couldn't believe the number when I saw it. I was very disappointed. And the other part is, Tim, is forget the strikeouts. He's been super lucky this year, right? The batting average on balls in play this season, 230. That's egregiously lucky. Left on base at 79%. Home to fly ball at 9.8%. He's got a 3.38 ERA, but he's got one of the worst Sierras on this slate at 4.83. He's just been a crazy lucky guy. And 11.3% as far as the walks. He's not striking out enough guys. He's walking too many. He's getting super lucky, but he's facing Detroit, so this is probably not the spot where the luck runs out. I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's a good point too. I don't think this is going to be the spot where he gets Babbitt to death. So it also kind of depends on kind of where you're at, what you want to do with your money tonight. If you're looking to simply double up 2x your money, then probably Scherzer and Rodon are the keys for that. But you're gonna have to get a little different, I think, if you wanna get really up there on GPPs.
You're saying it's not sneaky to play Scherzer and Rodon and play a bunch of dudes in cores? That's not sneaky.
You're gonna have to be perfect to get first. But your cash rate's gonna be a lot higher in the long run. You'll min cash at a higher rate, but it's gonna be tough to get the top 0.1%.
And all that stuff is baked in too, by the way. The TK price at 7.1, it is a meaningful difference. You get yourself at least 2 more upgrades as far as bats. Scherzer slight ownership over Rodon, 36%, 34%. It's probably going to it'll be higher than that in single entry and 3 entry as well. Kopech at 18%, Clevenger at 17, Garcia at 15. Garcia much more appealing on FanDuel for me than as opposed to DK as far as the price shopping. We'll talk the cheapies in a second. I know Andre gave his take as far as Clevenger. I want your take, Tim. They're asking about Clevenger in chat.
I think he, if I was spreading out to making 20 or more teams, he would get into the pool. But I think honestly, he's pretty far down there on that list. I prefer obviously the 2 studs. I prefer Kopech, Garcia, Montgomery, and Molly over Clevenger, but then I would throw in Clevenger. So I mean, if it's the savings on FanDuel isn't meaningful enough at all. So on FanDuel, I wouldn't touch him at all. And then for SB2 on DK, I'd much rather play Kopech. I'd much rather or spend double barrel or even do Montgomery.
Yeah, I want to bring Andre in. Andre, what's your thoughts as far as Montgomery? Because he's kind of an interesting cheapie against Milwaukee, new Cardinal, former Yankee. What do you have as far as Montgomery?
Yeah, I'm actually was looking at him on Play IQ right now. It's very, very interesting. I'm personally probably not going to play him, but I can see why you want to. There's a lot of strikeout potential in this lineup from Milwaukee that they have today, coming in at 26, obviously 26.3% as a strikeout rate. And Montgomery's looked good his first few starts with St. Louis. So I don't mind it, but it's not something I'm going to probably get to. I rather just. I don't know. Like, I mean, he strikes out righties at only 18% and gets them a lot of hard contact in them. And pretty much his whole lineup is filled with righties, and they're not even. And it's not like they're bad. They're all like really good in my opinion, as far as Adames, McCutcheon, Renfroe, and Hero. So, like, as far as that, the middle of it, the lineup. So, if he can get through that, then he'll be fine. But I just don't think he has the upside. At least not on FanDuel. His price on FanDuel is 8.5. So I mean, it's cheaper than pretty much all the pitchers that we talked about that we like today, as far as with Garcia, Molly, and I think he's around the same price as Kopech. No, Kopech actually is cheaper, and at that point, I'd rather take a chance on Kopech, who I'm not even a really big fan of today, but I understand why Tim likes him a lot. It makes a lot of sense too, but. I'm just not going there.
I think he's really more usable on DK than he is on FanDuel, and a pivot away from Kopech possibly. 6.8K over there, and you talked about like Hira. Like Hira's got a 44% K rate. I know the sample's not huge, 69 at bats. Collectively, this team is 26.3%, and you're right. It's not that Montgomery's this great strikeout guy either, especially versus righties, 18.2%, 30% versus lefties. Got to throw that out. There's only one lefty in the lineup, and Yellow leading off. Tim, what do you have as far as Montgomery? And it sounds like you're on Kopech ahead of Montgomery, and that's that. But do you think – I mean, Montgomery certainly can outscore him. It wouldn't be a shock.
Oh, absolutely. I think that Montgomery – like, if you want to build some of your teams with an expensive SB1 and a cheap SB2, then, you could do, like, 20% Kopech and then 10% Montgomery. I think that's completely fine.
Do you see some questions being compiled? Devin, if I happen to miss any of these, if you don't mind, throwing them my way in the Slack, because I know some of them aren't really relevant. They're hitting like 1v1, 2v2s, and those kind of things we'll knock out. And just feel free if you get a chance, copy
Got it.
those. Thank you. Throw them my way in the old Slack. I don't know if I'm going much beyond the guys we're talking about. I'm looking at our consensus rankings, and basically everybody we've talked about. We haven't talked about Jose Barrios. I think that's more of a DK thing, 7.3K, up and down season. What do you got on Barrios, Andre? Any interest there, or just, we have enough pitchers as is. It doesn't seem like yet. I'm like running 150, I suppose. Maybe you want to get a pinch, but I don't think I'm getting there. But I hear you if you want to put him in there.
I'm not getting to him at all. This is a no for me. Like, honestly, even though I think Toronto wins today, I kind of like the over in this game. I like all these guys to just get to him early and often. So yeah, I'm out on him.
I'm the same way.
It's such a bad matchup for strikeouts. Like the Guardian strikeout. I think maybe at the lowest rate in all of baseball. So I don't think he's got much upside at all, even at that really nice price tag.
Yeah, and Franmil's gone too. He was a couple of strikeouts on layaway. I joke about Quan. Like, obviously, he's not somebody you want to face as a pitcher, from a DFS perspective, because he strikes out 6.7% of the time against righties. That's not appealing. He's also got very little power, so that's kind of what I was talking about earlier in the show. I rarely get to him. But like J-Ram is awesome at hitting baseballs, and he never strikes out also at 8.7%. Naylor, power guy, doesn't strike out 11.7%. It is backloaded with Ks, and if you look at the collective number, I think it's skewed because of Benson's 12 at bats. He's got a 58% K percent. Throw that out. It's not going to be that. That's not sustainable. Jones striking out a good bit too, but it's, and does he get to these guys in the back end 3 times? He's got to be pitching really well. Obviously, it's possible, but going to face a lot of contact guys the first 6. Tim, you got anything else? Because I think it's kind of straightforward, and choose your own adventure with the good options and don't mess with the other nonsense. That's kind of where I'm at.
That's where I'm at also.
Did you say FanDuel, you're picking one, say you're spending up? Is it Max or is it Rodon? Is it 51-49? Is it kind of a coin toss for you?
It's probably going to be Rodon.
Because Pirates against lefties?
Yep.
Yeah. I tell you,
they're just so bad, and he's a little bit cheaper, so maybe I can get an extra bat. That $600 might mean something. So I would assume that they'll come pretty close to each other, both in ownership and in raw points. So I'll take the savings.
I don't know if O'Neal Cruz is going to be in there, but that'd be beautiful if he is. I love O'Neal Cruz, but left on left, he's just been a disaster. 59 appearances this season, 52% strikeouts. That's too many. That's a lot. Gamble is another left on left, 27%. The Pirates are just going to roll a bad lineup. There's nothing they can do. Chavis at 32%. There's just a lot of strikeouts there. Newman's back, and he's annoying, and he's kind of like a Stephen Kwan type where, he's not going to hit a homer, but, he'll probably pop out or ground out or maybe single, something like that. And Hayes also is a contact guy, but otherwise, there's a lot of strikeouts in that Pittsburgh lineup. The wind's blowing out pretty dramatically in San Fran, but San Fran built their ballpark to basically make wins. I don't want to say irrelevant, but subdue them dramatically. How about that? No rain issues last I saw. Checking Roth's weather report. Roth, of course, will be on less than an hour, taking you guys straight up the lock. Yeah, wind blowing out 20 miles per hour, but yeah, the park there in San Fran minimizes it. Last I saw, as far as the fire emojis for Ross Weather Edge, we had Kansas City and Colorado. Let's see if that's still sustained. Yeah, KC does have the fire emoji. For what it's worth, 143 game sample, which is pretty large. The home runs actually even went down at 1.4%, but runs have went up at 9.7%. 87 degrees, slight breeze out to left field. And Coors, just in case Coors needs a little bit more enhancement, 91 degrees in Denver today. Left field breeze, about 5 miles per hour. Fire emoji there as well. You got anything here, Andre, as far as anybody else, or just you want to just give me the summary as far as pitchers? I think it's pretty straightforward. Actually, you know what? I do have a question from chat from Big Hurt. Favorite pitcher for FanDuel single entry, favorite pitcher for FanDuel tournaments. I guess that means like your favorite single entry pitcher, Andre, for FanDuel, and then like what about a large field? Would it be different?
Single entry, I'm going to stick with Max Scherzer and get different with the bats personally. So that's the route I would go. But for tournaments, I like Tyler Mahle as my tournament pitcher.
I'm being told that Stephen Kwan homered yesterday, and let me do my best. Jay Cutler, don't care. He's got 3 in the season. Congratulations, good for him. But all right, he put up 23. My bad. I missed the homer yesterday. He put up 23 DK points. Congratulations for all those that weren't rostered him. But besides that, the dude hasn't homered since 1972. Tim, same question. Big Hurt wants to know FanDuel single entry, your single entry pitcher, and your large field ambitious pitcher. Who would that be?
Rodon for my single entry, and I would do Mahle in a large field tournament on FanDuel.
Okay. Interesting. Garcia's going to grab more ownership, I imagine. Mahle, I could see that going down a little bit and Garcia's going up a little bit. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but you're going to get Mahle at 5-6%?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't do it in a single entry, but for a large field, you want to get first out of 25,000 people, and I think that's worth taking a shot.
What do you think, Tim? What's the best way of saying jack in a bag? You bang out a homer, you swipe a bag. Apparently, Quan did that yesterday. Is it a combo meal? Is it a jack in a bag? Is it a sock and a shoe? I don't know. The rip it in the tear.
I like combo meal. I think that's pretty good.
I like Jack in a bag. What do you think, Andre? What do you prefer? What's the best way of saying somebody bang one and swipe one?
Jack in the bag sounds. I don't know. It sounds like I don't know. That sounds just kind of weird to me. So probably like a combo meal.
Fair enough. I've never heard Matt saying in chat, ripping and a tearing. I've never heard that before. But like, how does that, a rip is a homer? How is a stolen base a tearing? How is that tearing? That sounds like two homers. You rip a homer and you tear. I don't know.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right either.
It sounds good until you start thinking about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Slamming legs. Okay.
That's not a bad one. I like that.
Derek is asking what the Kopech ownership currently is on DK. And you know what? If you happen to have RG Premium, you could use this at your own leisure. You don't have to rely on Devin like throwing it up on the screen. He probably is doing so right now because he's an extraordinary producer, but I'll read it off for the people as well. And you can get yourself, well, theoretically, some persons, where is my guy? Oh, there he is. Beefcake responded. All right, let's do it, Beefcake. I was just going to like put it up for grabs for the 6 weeks. 6 weeks RG Premium up for grabs. Myself and Beefcake3922 Darren on Twitter. Not sure if you're watching out there, Darren, but I'm going to send you a head-to-head on the fly, trying to multitask, run the show, and create a contest and do a whole thing. But yeah, it'll go down. If he beats me in head-to-head tonight, he gets himself 6 weeks free of RG Premium. That would include the lineup HQ, the projections. You get yourself the optimizer and all the sports too. Preseason football is going down. NFL football, that's 27 days away or something like that. Schoolball's out for the rest of the season, by the way. So next week we're gonna run it back again. I run it on my Twitter, RotoGrinders. The RG account also retweets it, so be on the lookout for it. But every single week we've been adding a new week. If I win again, 7 weeks. 7 weeks. You cannot put a price on 7 weeks of RG Premium, and of course the bragging rights of beating me, Tim. Which that's clearly what you want, Tim. You want the bragging rights of beating me.
I do. I really do.
It's not that special because like I've lost thousands upon thousands of head-to-heads. Like I've been playing this game a long time. I've lost to everybody basically. It happens a lot, But like
we should have a tournament. We should have a head-to-head tournament. Just everyone in RG, let's all get together. Let's do a tournament for it.
Okay. I mean, I'm in double elimination, or how we do that? Or just single elimination? And that's that.
I think single elimination, winner take all. I like that.
All right. Oh, Matt is saying it was a Tosh.0 video many years ago. That sounds like something that Tosh.0 would say. By the way, Tosh.0, shout out UCF. There you go. If you have UCF over references, over 0.5 or 1.5, you pay paper. Cast your ticket because we smashed it a couple times throughout the show. All right, going to be sending that head-to-head in just a second. Give me the summary here, Andre, as far as arms. I don't think anybody else is asking about any other pitchers at this point, so we're going to move on to stacks, hitters, whatever else is on the chat's mind. Give me your favorite pitchers.
Scherzer, Rodon, Molly, Garcia, and Clevenger in that order is what I would be having tonight in my pool.
All right, Tim, what do you got? And I know you've been saying this several times throughout the show, but people kind of sprinkle in. Who has time to listen to us yammer for 2 hours plus? You know what I mean? They jump in and out. They got lives. They're working. They're in the car. So, give me the...
So for FanDuel, I would do Rodon or Scherzer. And then for tournaments, FanDuel, I'd go down to Garcia, Montgomery, or Kopech. And then on DK, it's you either double pay up for Scherzer, Rodon, or you get one of the studs and you go down to Kopech. Then for tournaments, it's kind of the same idea. You can sprinkle in Montgomery.
We have J3 in chat saying we want Carty. You're going to get Carty, like not right this second, but Carty is coming on. I think he's coming on later, right? Yeah, STL Cards and DerekCarty as well as Kevin Roth. They'll be jumping on. They usually come around about 6:25 on the East Coast, give or take. And that's when we'll hand it off. We're taking you guys still for 50 more minutes. That's why, again, interactive as possible. Fire off your questions. If I miss them, producer Devin, he's compiling them. He's going to be throwing them my way. We'll knock him out at some point throughout the show. Let's talk about stacks, Andre. Of course, there's Coors Field. We got a big boy total, 12. But I think there's a really good collection of teams that can compete with that, like better offenses, like as is. Of course, Coors kind of changes things. If you look at our consensus rankings, we got San Diego number 1 actually, in Washington on the road, locked in for 9. Juan Soto first. This is a first blood revenge game for Soto against his former team. Same with Bell. Solid lineup obviously there against Washington. They have not a good arm there, not a great bullpen, positive ballpark to hit in. So Andre, it's San Diego, then Colorado, then Arizona, Houston, which I love Houston against one of the worst pitchers taking the bump tonight, and Aller. And then there's the Dodgers. Do you agree with that? Is that pretty much where you're at as well? Is there somebody missing? You want to kick somebody out?
No, I like that personally. I think it's really good. I can't disagree with any of them. I like Houston a lot today. They just are always disappointing, and I don't understand why can't we get a day where we have Alvarez and Mancini in the lineup? Why is Mancini not playing?
Oh, I yell about Houston's lineup every single day. I don't know. Why would you trade for the guy if you're not going to play him?
Yeah, like he would just like that would set the lineup over the top. That would make this lineup probably the best lineup to go with tonight, honestly, in my opinion, if Mancini was in it. But I do like Houston a lot. I cannot disagree with that. It's hard to get away from them and hard to get away from the Coors game, even though I kind of want to get away from them. I like the Padres a lot too as well. Dodgers, I think, will be sneaky. I think San Francisco is another sneaky team that we could look at today, possibly. And one other team that I know it's not, I don't know, like it's definitely way well off the board for sure. But I kind of like, in a way, like I kind of like Baltimore. I know they have, I like the way they've just been playing lately has been great. We know Kluber gives a fly ball to both sides of the plate, and only striking out lefties at 20%. I didn't think they got a couple lefties and Mulhollands and some switch hitters too in the lineup too as well. So, and they're playing I think they're playing in Baltimore too today. So, and the weather here has been pretty. Like I'm not too well. Obviously, I was driving through Baltimore today, so the weather was pretty hot today, and so I think
Tampa, by the way, in Tampa.
Oh, it's in Tampa?
Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe. Well, I still downgrade them a little bit then, but they're a good secondary stack. Let me put it that way.
I was looking at the Astros lineup and I was trying to figure out. It's like, well, they got a DH Jordan. Okay, Jordan can play the field at times. I don't know if he's played this season. I remember last year he would play a little bit in the outfield when he was playing NL games. Is there just not a spot for him? I don't know. Like Dubon in center field. Gurriel, like Mancini, I think can play some first, right? And Gurriel, don't get me started on that one.
I mean, I like Gurriel too, though. You can't not.
That would be such an upgrade if they got rid of Gurriel and played Mancini.
Thank you.
I mean, yeah, they got rid of him, but I feel like if you have him, you have to play him. I think you can get rid of. There's other people you can get rid of. Who's in the back half of that lineup that they can take out?
I mean, Pena's got to play short. You need a catcher. They got Vasquez catching today instead of Maldonado. Tucker in right field, Diaz in left. Like,
what about with Dubon?
Dubon's in center, but I mean, you can't stick Mancini in center. Maybe that's what it is. Did he not have a center fielder? Brantley's out for the season now.
Yeah, so I would say take Dubon out, put Mancini in there. We have ourselves a great lineup here.
Mancini lumbers though. Can he play? Can he possibly play center field? I
don't think he would be able to play center.
You don't think so?
I really don't. I really don't think so.
Maybe throw Tucker in center.
He's incredibly slow. He's a pretty slow person.
Gurriel went 3 for 4 yesterday, by the way. Were they all singles? Every single one were singles, I would imagine. Yeah, you want to point to the scoreboard, the recency bias. Yeah, I don't think that. I think that's the problem at Mancini is that maybe they can't find a spot for him. That could be it. I don't know.
I just don't get why trade for him then.
Well, because that ballpark is perfect for him. Righty power with the Crawford boxes. Well, yeah, you should play him if you have him. Find a spot, figure it out.
That's my take on it. Find a spot, figure it out.
Yeah, move Tucker to center. I think that kind of makes sense. Mancini to right, had him out there, or even left. And Houston doesn't seem like it gets tricky when that ball is the left center with that weird, the way the wall gets weird. But all right. What do you have, Tim, as far as stacks?
Yeah, so I agree with everything that Andre said. Coors game, San Diego, Houston is going to crush tonight, I'm sure. I don't know if we've mentioned the Yankees. I
Super
really,
sneaky.
yeah, I mean, I think, for a large field GPP setting, Eovaldi's velocity, I think is still lower than what it was earlier in the season. And that's, one of those huge red flags for pitchers. So anytime velocity is down and the amount of home runs that he gives up anyway against this team, I think he's going to be in for a rough night against the Yankees. So, and we know that Red Sox bullpen is bad. So I wouldn't forget about them if you're making, I would even consider them in a 3-max setting as a contrarian option because they have a massive ceiling tonight.
Would you fully stack them, or maybe 3 or 4, or just say, let's give me all the Yankees?
I think if you're gonna do it, I would like to see a full 5-man and just hope that they just go insane and just beat up on Boston. That's probably what I would do.
That's happened a time or two. Andre, you watch a lot of these games, I imagine. The Yankees, Red Sox always play those 9-hour games, and I don't know if this is real or not, but it feels like they play high-scoring games. I haven't looked at the numbers. You probably know better than me. Not great a hitting environment for what it's worth as far as Fenway. It's 72 degrees, winds blowing in 5 miles per hour, 103-game sample. Home runs have taken a hit by 8%, runs by 2%. Not massive, just not super appealing. Nothing to add to as a positive. Andre, what is your take? I know historically you say, well, whenever your Yankees are chalky, you don't want them because whatever reason that doesn't work out. But today they're just going to be completely ignored. Both sides in this game are going to be ignored.
I think it is a good spot just from the pitching standpoint. I can see even them hitting the ball and putting a lot of balls on play and getting a lot of runs on the board that way. So that's why that would be my take on it. And I can see both sides of this game getting like that too, even though Boston, because even though Boston, hasn't been like the best this year, they actually I think are still in a hunt for playoffs, if I'm correct, the first spot. And Herman, 16% strikeout rate on the season so far, which is not good. And it's horrible to lefties at 11%. And obviously you got a guy like Devers and Verdugo in here and Hosmer. So, but more so like Verdugo and Devers who can just easily put that ball into play. So this game I love as a whole is definitely a sneaky game. I agree with Tim. Like I personally would play both sides of this game. I would definitely mini stack Boston, but I'm full stacking the Yankees.
Just did a search, according to 538 at least, Boston's got a mathematical 12% chance of making the playoffs. So not officially eliminated. They're barely hanging on. They're 80 and 82. They shouldn't even have that high of a chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they shouldn't. I don't know how they got there.
More teams make the playoffs this year, and the AL Central is just bad. So the White Sox, as bad as they've been, they got a chance to win that division, although probably nobody in that division deserves. I guess Cleveland's been pretty good. Maybe I don't like Cleveland. I don't know what it is. I love J-Ram. I just don't respect that team so much. But they are actually 10 games above 500, so good for them. Tim, do you follow the standings at this point in the season? I'm one of those people I don't have a favorite team. I'll get there eventually. I just kind of assume, I know the Dodgers and the Astros and the Mets and the Yankees have been great, but is this something that you're on top of?
I'm not usually a big standings guy in any sports. Once I started playing DFS every day, I stopped looking at standings. So,
yeah. Are we photoshopping a cowboy hat on my head? Is that what's going on, or Devin's gonna have himself a good time? I don't know.
We're gonna ignore that one, Dean. We're not touching that Photoshop opportunity. Trust me.
Why would you not? Is it too difficult of a task?
No, I'm just gonna go ahead and say you didn't fully read the opportunity here. So,
I've not been paying attention. I don't know if it's happened or not, or
hashtag family show, Dean. Come on.
Oh my gosh!
I don't know the whole context of what's going on in chat. This is why. Look, I'm multitasking. I'm sending out head-to-heads. I'm hosting a show. I'm going to do a read in a second. We're having a conversation. I'm going to grovel for likes. No, I'm not going to grovel, but please, if you don't mind, feel free. No pressure. It doesn't cost you anything. Just the cost of whatever this is. Hit that like button. Smash it, caress it, whatever adjective works for you. Also subscribe, turn on those notifications, all that good stuff. It helps us keep the proverbial lights on here. Tim, anything else as far as stacks before we kind of go around the horn?
Nope. I think we can go around the horn.
Well, one more thing before we do that, we got to talk about Stat Hero. The people are not aware. Stat Hero, it's a different way of playing daily fantasy. It allows you to compete against the house. You're not going to play against Tim. You're not going to play against Andre. You're not playing against those in chat either. Playing against the house only. You do it sort of a pick'em style. They're going to supply a lineup, and you got to take a lineup pick a lineup that's going to outscore them, and that's that. That's how that goes. If you want to play over there, use the promo code Grinders. You get a 50% deposit bonus up to $250. And if you check the screen right now, there you go. Producer Devin is on top of it. If you have it on mute, you still know what's going on. First time depositors, you get yourself a 50% deposit bonus. And Devin, if he has already or if he hasn't already, he's going to show you exactly how it breaks down when it comes to payouts as well. Again, play more, earn more, play for 1,000, you earn a $500 bonus. Wait, is that the bonus? Did I misread that? August baseball bonus. I thought it was $250. I'm reading this incorrectly, I suppose, but there you go. Take that. Devin, am I misinterpreting this? I thought that's not the bonus, right?
Some UCF reading here.
So help me smash the over on UCF. Or whoever bet the over on references is like crushing tonight. But it maxes out. That wasn't a deposit bonus. That was something else, correct?
No, it is specifically for head-to-head play. All they have to do is play cash entries on the Stat Hero MLB head-to-head. Once they hit each tier in cash spend, the bonus will be automatically applied to their account once the contest closes.
Why don't I have that read? Well, you know way more than I do.
Steve, there's a visual on screen. Just look at it.
Yeah, use the promo code Grinders, 50% deposit bonus up to $250. Check out Stat Hero. And I did mention preseason. I know there's NFL preseason last night. I believe there's more NFL preseason today.
Yeah, there.
Okay. Are you playing?
I might dabble.
Yeah. Did you dabble last night?
I did.
How'd you do?
I lost.
Sorry. Andre, are you dabbling in the preseason football?
No, I've been trying to focus on getting some stuff out with my over-unders for each team for the season. I want to try to write up a whole article on those for RG this year if I can. And then I also want to get a lot of best ball teams out there. So I started that last night.
How are your Saints looking?
Oh, they're my team to win. They're sneaky this year, I think. I love them to win a division against the Buccaneers. Everyone just thinks Tampa Bay, because Tom Brady's back, they're gonna run over them. But I think we have a great team. Michael Thomas is going to be a top 5 receiver this year, and I look forward. And our defense is elite as always. I look forward to us making the playoffs and making it around the Super Bowl. All
right, yeah, that's a tough team to read. Like, I think I saw PFF had them as the #1 defense going into the season.
Yeah,
is that right?
Their defense is. I didn't check the rankings yet on their defense, but I know that just from me looking at it and following how I follow it, their defense is just elite. We got elite talent at every single level. And then we got Mateo at safety. So I think that was a huge pickup for us. And on the offensive end, obviously we got the weapons with the young receiver out of Ohio State, along with Mike Thomas coming back, and then Jarvis in the slot. And then with Alvin Kamara probably not going to be suspended this year. I just look forward to just running all over the NFC South.
The chat is not with you, Andre. Izzy says that the Saints are a mess, wild card at best. J3 says the Saints are trash. So
go slide in my DMs, all of you guys. I will take you guys on some bets. I'm telling you, whatever the win total is, we're going over it.
And like the Thomas thing is like they didn't really know. Like there was mixed reports as far as his injury, but I think he basically came out and said whatever Rappaport was saying was nonsense. Like he's going to be fine, and
he's healthy.
Yeah,
I think he's healthy back. He just from the clips I've seen him in practice, I'm like, gosh, I can't wait to have him back on the field and just destroy. Like he's sneaky in your best ball leagues. If you can draft him, he goes late. He's going to be sneaky, and like I said, I think he's going to be a top 5 receiver this year.
Tim, you got a favorite team? Are you like a Bears fan or something?
Bears fan? What? Why would I be a Bears fan?
I don't know. I'm just throwing a dart. There's 1 in 32 chance. Right?
He was so disgusted.
Why would I be a Bears fan, D?
I don't know. Why would you be? Maybe you're.
I don't know. You're the one that asked me.
a lot of times it's passed down from from families. So maybe somebody in your family was a big Bears fan, and you sat next to that person watching the game at 3 years old, and then now you're indoctrinated. And now
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of whoever I got money on, Dean. That's the bottom line. That's all you need to know.
Who were you a fan of before DFS?
I was a huge Steve Young, Jerry Rice fan when I was a kid.
Okay.
I had all like their jerseys and stuff like that. That was like my duo.
John Taylor, Ronnie Lott, Roger Craig, Tom Rathman. There you go. Dwight Clark. That's even further back.
Dean, you're a Florida guy. How are your Miami Dolphins looking?
I am not a Dolphin fan, actually. I never was a Dolphin fan. I grew up disliking the Dolphins for whatever reason. I don't really know why.
You must be a Jag fan, Dean.
No. I mean, Jacksonville's pretty far. I grew up in South Florida, so wasn't that far from Miami. But for whatever reason, I just never. I was a Houston Oilers fan as a child. I liked their uniforms, those powder blues. The oil thing on the helmet is amazing. Warren Moon and the run and shoot offense was just so much fun to watch, and it was ahead of its time. 4 wide receivers: Ernest Gibbons, Haywood Jeffries, Drew Hill. I'm missing the 4th guy. But Alonzo Highsmith, Ray Childress, Bubba McDowell. I can keep going. Those names are still in my brain. I should replace those names with something that's actually useful in the year 2022. But that's where we're at, unfortunately. Hey, let's go around the horn and give our favorite players position. But did I miss Duncan? Is that who it was? Oh, there you go. Good job, chat. I'm not sure who I missed, but if I missed Duncan, Duncan was one of the 4 as well. All right, catchers. Andre, you have catchers you like tonight?
On FanDuel? No.
Anywhere. Yeah.
Honestly, if I would just use this position, honestly, only in stacks on FanDuel specifically, a guy like if you want to go against a guy like Lauer, I don't mind a little Molina. Dalton Varsho is obviously going to be the top choice going against Santella in core, so I don't mind that. Will Smith is going to come in at low ownership, so I would take some shots at him today, especially to get different in your stacks. I think this is a position where you can use that to get different for sure. So Will Smith, that's a one-off. I don't mind Kirk either as well. Kyle Riley, or even Yasmani Grandal against Norris. I don't mind that today as well.
Devin in chat saying I was a salty Oilers fan. No, I wasn't mad, but I just couldn't force for whatever reason when they moved to Tennessee. I just didn't go with them. But I wasn't upset about it. I don't know why. I was like, it's just not the same. But I wasn't angry about it. They're fine. Devin's a Houston fan. No.
Any way I can needle you, Dean. Any way I can needle you.
Yeah, I don't root against them. I like them too. By the way, Alex is saying in chat, I actually don't disagree with this, and I ranked him in my catchers today. I think I put him 4th on FanDuel, and you got to rank catchers. Grandal is 2-1. I know he's been horrendous all season, but I'm okay with that as a flat-out punt. And I think the White Sox, stop me if you heard this before, I think the White Sox are well-positioned for success tonight. I don't know if they're going to get there, but, Daniel Norris is not somebody I'm afraid of. They actually have a total of about 5. Luis Robert not leading off. It's Pollock leading off today, I guess. But I liked Robert leading off. What did they shuffle up? Something else changed too. Obviously, Tim Anderson's not being there. It hurts the overall lineup. You got a thought here, Tim, as far as catchers? Would you play Grandal at 2-1? I think, if I need a flat-out punt, I'm okay with it.
If you absolutely need to, you can. I'm not in love with it. But, yeah, you could.
Who do you like at catcher?
Well, for DK, I don't really like anybody. So I'm just gonna play Brian Servin from the Rockies at 2,900.
Yeah.
Gary Sanchez 2,500. I also like Jose Trevino for 2,800. I don't want to pay up for Will Smith for 5,000. I don't really want Alejandro Kirk or Sal Perez. Yes, those guys could do well, but I don't think that's the right way to build tonight. So I'm going to just punt catcher.
Yeah.
Tim, sorry, real quick. Tim, can you tell me a Jose Trevino real quick? Because I'm having a hard time keeping him in my player pool. I just can't. I can't do it. I can't.
You can't collect Jose Trevino in your player pool, even in your Yankee stack?
No. I'd rather just play the Yankees are going to be so low owned in general, so why did I just go with the top half of the lineup?
Also, you're playing FanDuel, right?
I'm talking DK, though.
Oh, okay. DK specific.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, no way. Yeah, you're right. On FanDuel, I would X him out of my pool, but on DK, I think he's got to be, in the consideration for your Yankee stacks, definitely.
All right, perfect. Yeah, that makes sense.
I was running down my old school Houston Oilers, and yes, I forgot, amongst other players, I'm sure, but I forgot Bruce Matthews. I believe he's a Hall of Famer. Pretty sure he's a Hall of Famer. First base, Tim, is loaded today. It's really, really good. There's definitely an opportunity cost at first. Christian Walker and Coors well positioned. Montero is first base eligible on DK. I think he's also third base as well, kind of a cheapie. You could spend up on Crone if you want to. You got the first blood revenge for Josh Bell. You got Brandon Belt cheap on both sites. 3.2 on DK. I want to say he's like 2.5 on FanDuel. San Francisco, we know the deal with San Francisco and their lefties and the righties, and they're kind of like tricky, but Bryce Wilson, he ain't it. I love Belt, at least for the first several bats, and we'll see how that goes the rest of the game. Again, big opportunity cost. If you like the White Sox, I'm good with Abreu. Vlad, I saw somebody mention Toronto earlier, like how the Yankees are going to be lost in this slate. I think Toronto's going to be lost in this slate. There's a lot of righty power here. It's a reverse splits pitcher on the mound there in Cal Quantrill. Like, people are not going to be spending them on Vlad for 5.8. If you want to flat out punt it, you got Seth Beer at 2K on DK. Again, opportunity cost. He's pretty cheap on FanDuel, and I believe he's in the outfield over there. There's a lot of dudes, man. There's a lot of guys. Oh, and Pasquantino's still really cheap also. If you want to bank on that homer coming. He's hitting the ball hard. He's hit some homers this year, but not to my liking and not when I roster him. What do you have here, Tim? There's a plethora at first.
One of the reasons why I didn't love Grandal at on FanDuel at 2,100 is because I'd rather play Brandon Belt for 2,500 in that same position. Belt's a better play on FanDuel. You can play him on DK, absolutely. Christian Walker is going to be the chalk tonight. It's going to be tough to pass up on this scores stack. So I would prefer to get the CJ Crone, but I'll have to see. That's kind of like, if I'm going to be playing Kopech or if I'm going to be double barreling, it's going to be, these decisions of if I'm going to have that extra $1,100. So Walker's definitely the cash game guy on both sites. Tournaments, I've talked about the Yankees. I like Anthony Rizzo. I just like that stack. So that's about it for me.
Alex in chat just wants to remind you, Tim, we live in the world of a salary cap, but do you have a cheat code, like a warp zone? How are you getting all this money to spend up on all these big bats?
What do you mean?
Look, I'm just speaking on behalf of Alex. I'm just asking a question.
Well, I think if you double pay up at pitching, you have 3,700.
Yeah.
And then if you do like SP1 with one of the studs and then Kopech, you're gonna be right around like 4K. So it's doable.
Apparently we have 69 likes. What is that noise? Is that mine? You guys hear that noise?
Yeah, that wasn't me.
What was that? Devin?
Wasn't me. Somebody died. Is somebody's computer dying?
What is this?
It might be me then, because my computer's crazy.
Yeah, you were having some charger issues before we got started.
I've never heard that noise before. My Mac doesn't make that noise.
I've never heard that noise. My computer's, it probably was my computer, to tell you the truth. I don't know what happened. I hope nothing. If I cut off, then you know what happened. It was my computer that did it.
Hopefully your charger works there and we can power on through. Otherwise, it's been real. Andre, actually, give us your first baseman.
Oh boy, Christian Walker. I like him a lot today. Like you said, a lot. Anthony Rizzo. I love Anthony Rizzo today. One of my favorite options. I love Paul Goldschmidt as well. I think he's another good option you can have today. I also like the one-off and Pete Alonso, who no one's going to be playing today.
Nope.
So I like taking a shot at him today. Yuli Gurriel, who I know you don't like that much, but I think he's great in your Houston stacks today as well. And Vlad Guerrero, who another guy that no one's going to be playing today as well. And Freddie Freeman, even though it's a lefty, Freeman is still just that guy.
Tim, do you happen to have, by chance, the collective ownership by team up? Do you have that page up in front of you?
No, but I can.
All right. I'll give you a second. Feel free to fire it up. By the Walker thing, like, again, Senzatella, Coors Field, he's too cheap, plenty of power. And Senzatella is a big reverse splits guy too. So the righty power in Arizona should play pretty well. Did I buy enough time? And I'm going to speak a little bit slower, Tim, but let me know.
You're so close.
So I'm going to ask the question, and by the time I finish the question, and I can rephrase it, I can speak a little bit slower, you'll get there. But Don Easy wants to know, collectively, who's going to be highest owned? San Diego, Arizona, or Colorado amongst those three of the chalkier offenses today? San Diego, Arizona, Colorado.
Arizona.
Yeah, that would have been my guess as well.
Yeah.
But they're all grabbing ownership. It's probably Arizona, San Diego, Colorado in that order, my guess.
Arizona, Colorado, Dodgers, Houston, Giants, San Diego.
Ooh, really? Okay. Is that because Machado and Soto are just too expensive? And Bell is not – okay, if that's true, yeah, I like San Diego if they're going to be somewhat neglected. I know they're going to get owned to some degree. And I don't – 13-game slate, I try not to freak out too much. And there's so many good offenses. Like the math says, like everybody can't be popular. It's just how that goes. All right, let's yeah. And Izzy saying in chat, and this is the perfect thing we're kind of talking about. Wow, not New York and in Toronto. No, no, it's not going to be that way.
There's so many good offenses tonight. Like that, and that's the case against going double barrels, because I'm not seeing like this, extremely cheap stack that you can fill in. So it's like I think that helps the case for Kopech.
Honor, what do you have as far as second base?
Hold on. Crap, my computer's slowed down for a second. All right, second base. I like. Obviously, you guys get to a guy like Ketel Marte today. I'm just not going to mention anyone in course. I know we can play anyone on course on both sides of the game. I'm just going to mention other guys outside of course. So a guy like, obviously, as I mentioned before, in the Yankees side, DJ LeMahieu's fine. Diaz for Houston, I think it's a great option today. Minnesota, I think it's sneaky against Sandoval, but not high on them. But if you want to go with a mini stack, I don't mind a guy like Jorge Polanco on the top half of that lineup. I think they could be very sneaky. Jake Cronenworth and Brandon Drury. Drury's been hitting the ball really well, so I don't mind that as well today. Jose Altuve as well. Christian Arroyo, if you want to go take a chance on Boston against Herman, who doesn't really strike out. Whose strikeout rate is just not that great this year at all. Yeah, that's the main guys I would have. Anyone else, I would just pretty much play this position mainly as a whole, besides outside a few guys, I would use in a stack.
Just to walk us back for a second, I'm taking a peek at the DK first base ownership. Obviously, this stuff is fluid and it changes and yada, yada. But as of right now, we don't have anybody at first base ranked higher than 9%. I think Walker is going to be higher than that personally. We got Belt and Walker right there. But if you like Guerrero, he's 4%. Beer is a flat-out punt. This is DK, by the way, 4%. Bell at 4%. Just play who you want. Play who you like, and that's that.
I really think tonight's a good night to have a condensed pitching pool and spread out at bats.
I agree. What do you have at second, Tim?
Obviously there's the Coors guys. I like Jake Cronenworth quite a bit on Fanduel at 3K. I think he's a really good pivot off of Marte and gives you a little bit of savings also. Diaz for Houston. He's got 3 positional eligibility on FanDuel for 2,500, batting 6th against arguably the worst pitcher on the slate. Max Muncy will probably get lost in the shuffle, batting 7th, 2,700 on FanDuel. So I think those are some decent. Wilmer Flores. So those are Christian Arroyo. He's min-price on DK, so he might be in the punt discussion. Gleyber Torres. I think that's probably what I would stop there.
Yeah, speaking of punts, we'll talk about it as far as shortstop DK specific. You can get Brandon Belt at shortstop. No, wait, why am I going to short? We're jumping to third. We jump back to shortstop. That's how it goes down. Tim, knock out third, and then we'll talk about short afterwards, obviously. What do you have at third base, Tim?
Third base is always loaded, but I think that I really don't want to play Rojas or McMahon, so this is probably going to be a spot where I either play Montero for salary relief or Like Bregman is only 3,100 on FanDuel. I think that's a really good play if you have the money. It's going to be tough because, like that person in the chat said, you can't, live in the world of salary cap. So, but if you have the money, I'd really like to get to some Manny Machado. Josh Donaldson, 2,700 on FanDuel, and those Yankee stacks. I think that's a good play in any kind of format. You could just do a little two-man, like him and Judge or something, for an affordable price.
Aaron in chat's talking about how cold it is in San Fran tonight. It is going to be 63 degrees. It's also the wind's blowing out 60 miles per hour, basically left center. And again, this ballpark, if you know how the ballpark was constructed, it subdues wind. But when you combine those two elements as well as the dew point, according to Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth's Weather Edge, 254 game sample. That's a big boy sample, right? A lot of games. 254 games played with similar weather in this ballpark in years past, including this season. Bumping homers at 11%, bumping runs at 6.7%. So yes, it's going to be cool, but the wind is also blowing out. But again, 15 miles per hour in San Fran's not 50 in Chicago. Totally different conversation. But point is, if you like San Fran, play them. I would not play them because of the 63 degrees and it's too cold.
They have a fantastic matchup tonight. So if you want to play them, I would play them.
Andre, third base.
Obviously, Manny Machado's the top option. I didn't mention Cleveland. I do like Cleveland today as well. Like I said, to get to Barrios. So Jose Ramirez is someone I would include in those stacks. Rafael Devers as well as someone else I like. Josh Rojas, Josh Donaldson. Those guys I really like today. Alex Bregman, I think it's another fine option. On a cheaper, on the bottom half, like the cheaper side. Obviously, Yohan Moncada, if you want to go with the Chicago White Sox mini stack, I don't mind him in there. We mentioned Muncy already, but I think he's definitely a sneaky option in those Dodger stacks today in the back half. Another guy we did not mention because obviously no one's really talking about Toronto today. Like Matt Chapman's a great option. So is Calvin Biggio as well.
We got a bunch of questions being compiled in chat. I'm going to get to them before we step up and make way for the
one guy.
What's up?
Nolan Arenado. I forgot to mention him. I like him a lot today.
Yeah, we talked about this the other day about how good St. Louis is against lefties. They're the absolute best team in all of baseball against lefties. Our WRC plus 138, 137. It's really strong. The ballpark, obviously, it's not Coors. It's St. Louis, more pitcher friendly, neutral to pitcher friendly over there. But still, I think St. Louis, again, another team that just nobody's playing St. Louis. For sure, you can play them. And I was taking a peek at our ownership stuff, and again, everything's just kind of spread out. On FanDuel, it's a little bit more condensed. Like you can get Bregman at 15%, McMahon at 14%. But if you jump on DK as far as our ownership, nobody at third base is above 10%. We have McMahon at 10 right now. We have La Stella at 10 because we're projecting him to lead off. I don't know if that's officially going to happen with San Fran. I'm not sure if their lineup is out just yet. Montero in the 6 hole for Colorado should be reasonably popular as well, but probably not more than 10%, give or take.
I just want to say something real quick, Dean. You were talking about Tom and La Stella. Guys, if you're gonna be stacking the Giants tonight, just be aware of pinch hit risk. Like Lamont Wade, 62% pinch hit risk. Jock Peterson, 41. Tom and La Stella, 34. I mean, that's massive.
What do you do with that? Like, do you roster those guys, or like, because again, if it's like a 9-1 game in the fourth, and you can't predict that's going to happen, that's not a likely outcome. But also, if you're stacking, that's who you're rooting for. Probably a less likely chance. They just say screw it and just let those guys stick out there. Like, how do you handle that?
The thing is, with this team, they might take them out anyway. You know, so like if say they have a good 3 or 4 innings and they have a 6-1 lead, like you would love that in other teams. But this team, those guys are gone. So just be aware that you probably just want to do like a skinny stack of this Giants team, like Belt, Flores, and maybe that's it. Because I don't want to play a chalky Tommy La Stella, with that kind of pinch hit risk.
You might only get 2 even though he's leading off, you might only get 2 at bats, possibly 3. But Wilson can certainly get his face punched in. He's not a guy you can assume is going to go 6+. 2 lefties in that bullpen, by the way, for what it's worth. Manny Benuelos has not pitched since looks like Monday. So he's well rested. So he probably pitches at some point in this game. The other one is Eric Stout, who's pitched. He pitched Wednesday and Tuesday, but not Thursday. But there are lefties in that pen, and Benuelos probably pitches basically no matter what. Like the way he's pitched once in the last 5 days. So he will make an appearance, and we're projecting 7 lefties in that San Fran lineup. I'm just checking Twitter, checking our lineups page if we got a San Fran lineup just yet. But they're reasonably predictable. You kind of know they're going to roll out a bunch of L's. All right, let's jump to shortstop. Speaking of the L's on San Fran, you got 2K Brandon Crawford on DK, which could be useful, Andre. I know you're playing more so on Fanduel where he's 2.3K. You don't necessarily need that savings as much. Just throwing him out there. But otherwise, what are your thoughts as far as short?
Shortstop, for me, it starts with a guy like Xander Bogaerts. I think he's done well against Irvine in his career. So I would play him in my Boston stacks, pretty much a Boston mini stack. I like Jeremy Pena as well, and part of Houston stacks, as well as Diaz. Then I like Andres Jimenez and Ahmad Rosario. And if you want to go like a Cleveland mini stack against Toronto, I don't mind that. And then a guy like obviously Trey Turner, who is probably was going to be probably the highest owned, if not the tied for the highest owned shortstop at the position today, going against Lynch.
Yeah, let's see. FanDuel specific for Turner, we got him at 11%, and Correa is pretty cheap over there, so he's 11% also. But again, nobody really jumping off the page is, massive ownership. And I got the spinning wheel for DK, so it's going to take me a second to pull that up. Tim, jump in here, shortstop.
Yeah, so I'm probably going to play Brandon Crawford. Assuming he's in the lineup, he comes with very, very little pinch hit risk. He should be, I don't know, batting like 6th. I mean, I think that this is such a good spot for the Giants that he could pay off that really, really small price tag. If you don't want to do that, I also really like Jeremy Pena's price on both sites quite a bit. He comes at a really, really nice discount. Carlos Correa on FanDuel is a really good price. I'm not going to be able to get to Trey Turner, but if you can, then by all means play him. But this is another spot where I'm not going to have any exposure to cores. Like, I don't want to really play Jose Iglesias. I mean, he might hit 3 singles, but I'm not there with him.
Yeah, we talked about Toronto. I'm hearing myself. I'm not sure if that's on my end or somebody else's end. All right, so yeah, the Dodgers we can throw in the bucket with the Yankees and Toronto, as far as I can tell, that like are really good teams that are against. They're pretty well positioned, nothing crazy, that are just not going to be played so much. I guess Turner, we're expecting to see a lot of ownership on DK, so maybe that's not fully correct, but he's probably more of an outlier in that team than anything else. Let's jump to the outfield. We got a bunch of questions compiled in chat, so I want to knock those out before we bring the Crunch Time crew on. Tim, outfield, as always, especially on a big boy slate, it's certainly loaded. Who are some of your favorites?
I mean, I really want to get to Aaron Judge. It doesn't seem likely that I'll be able to do that. But if you're multi-entering, three maxing, I would strongly recommend having an Aaron Judge. You did mention that this is going to be Juan Soto revenge game.
Dude, I said first blood. You didn't hear me before in the start of the show? First blood revenge, him and Josh Bell.
Yep, there you go. So, I mean, that revenge is definitely real in baseball. So, Alec Thomas is probably going to be pretty popular, and he's probably a strong play for cash games. Kyle Tucker and Jordan, one of those two are going to hit a home run tonight. I can't say which one, but one of them.
I'm with you on Judge. Like, I love him, but I don't know if I'm going to get there. I'm going to try to, but I mean, against Eovaldi, the velocity's down, reverse splitsy, power righty with the monster.
All those Yankees righties are in the best spot ever tonight, and nobody's going to play them.
Yeah. Andre, outfield.
When in doubt, play Jordan. Jordan is one of my favorite guys today. I like Aaron Judge a lot. Juan Soto obviously is revenge. You just got to play it. You got to make this. If you have one lineup, make 2 lineups, or just use Juan Soto as your one-off. I think he's probably going to go yard today just for it. If you want to get to like some Seattle guys, like I like a guy like Jesse Winker. This guy, I think, is just the pitcher for them. I think it's horrible against lefties, if I'm correct. So I will roster him. Alex Verdugo today as well. Quan, if you want to make him use him part of your Cleveland mini stack, I don't mind him today as well. Or Oscar Gonzalez as well, if you want to use him in the Cleveland mini stack. Mookie Betts as well. Louis Robert.
Sorry, Andre.
No, I'm done.
Don't forget about Jake McCarthy too, batting 6th for Arizona, 3K on DK.
This Spores guy doesn't look very good for Texas. I don't know how deep he's going to go, but yeah, he's doesn't look like he's anything special. J-Rod's back, by the way, for Seattle, if you guys aren't aware, so that looks better as well. Going to play the stat game as well. We're bringing back the stat game. Before we do that, I want to ask a bunch of questions. Let's see. We got Danny. He wants to know, this goes way back in the show. I'm going to ask Tim. Danny, cash on FanDuel. You want Suarez, Eugenio Suarez, or Bregman? You want Bregman, right?
Definitely Bregman.
Shannon wants to know who's coming in after Chuck Norris for Detroit. I don't know. I'm not sure, but it's probably not going to be any good. But I don't know if they're piggybacking anybody. Do you have a read in this, Tim or Andre?
I'll try to find out.
I'm not sure.
FanDuel, Andre, you want this is Aaron's question. Aaron wants to know Jock or Tucker. I assume that's Peterson or Kyle Tucker.
I'm going to go Kyle Tucker.
All right. Tim, Jose's got a question for you. It's a 2v2 for cash. No site given. More details are better just for the future reference. But we got Soto and Diaz. I assume that's Aledmys Diaz or Machado and Tucker. Oof, man, that's tough.
That's a tough one, but I'd do Machado Tucker.
Yeah, I think Soto is the best bat, but I think Diaz falls off. I think I'm with you, Machado Tucker, because they're both really, really solid, and Diaz, let's see. If you're playing San Diego stack, Andre, do you prefer to play Machado or Drury? You can't have both. I think Drury's still more expensive than Machado, right? Which is kind of goofy.
Well, Drury's been hitting so much better recently than Machado, even though I would play the ownership game on that one. Let me pull it up real quick. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. I see a few more questions coming in. We'll do our best to knock those out before we step aside for the Crunch Time crew. Crunch Time crew, they're going to focus, at least predominantly, Ross going to focus on the Discord channel, the premium Discord channel. So that's why you got your best chance for us to answer questions. If he runs out of questions, there's still time. He will jump over to YouTube, but there's no guarantees on that. Did I give you enough time, Andre?
Yeah, ownership-wise, it's going to be Drury for me in tournaments, but I don't hate Machado either.
Tim,
I've got nothing about who's going to follow Daniel Norris, so I just wanted to follow up on that.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't either. I didn't. Yeah, I don't have a read on it. Double revenge player game. Yeah, who gets the revenge? Who is more angry about leaving? I think they're all fine about leaving. I assume. Like in San Diego is lovely. Nothing against DC, but I assume Josh Bell and Soto are fine. I don't know, but how vengeful are they? Are they at the John Wick level, or how many home runs are we going to see of these guys? Who do you prefer out of Bell and Soto?
Well, obviously Soto, but he's going to be higher owned. So Bell will probably be a really good tournament play.
Andre, we got a question here from John. Who do you think starting a lineup with two of the top price pitchers and plugging in Montero and Pasquantino? Like that's one way to save some salary. I assume this is a DK question. Well, of course it is because it's two pitchers. How do you feel about that, Andre? Montero, Pasquantino, they're both like 2.7 or less. You have the two top arms. You still can get some really quality bats. Do you like that as a starting foundation?
Yeah, I think that's a fine starting foundation.
It's funny. Good call there in the chat from Joaquin. The real revenge is Luke Voigt revenge. He's the one that's pissed. He got sent to San Diego because Eric Hosmer refused to get traded. Remember that?
That's a really good call. He might be the revenge narrative tonight.
And he's a big boy, and he looks like he's ready to. He opens up his buttons. He lets you know don't hit him. Don't brush him back. He's going to be a little. He's probably ornery. I haven't heard him.
He's either going to strike out 4 times or hit 2 home runs.
That's the one that's genuinely probably most upset getting sent away from San Diego. because Eric Hosmer wouldn't change his no trade. Now he got traded, I guess, to Boston, but whatever. Not worth getting into. Hey, Tim, DK Cash. Ryan's got a question for you. This is rough. We got to save some salary. Betancourt and Hilliard, or Servin and Luis Gonzalez.
Servin and Luis Gonzalez.
Like take the two guys in cores, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. You want another cash question? I'll give you another cash question. I'll save the other for Andre. DK Cash. This is for Tim. Jordan and Gonzalez. I assume it's Luis Gonzalez, or Tucker and Thomas. I assume that's Thomas on Arizona.
That's really tough. That's really good. I'd go with Jordan.
Andre, I have more cash questions. I don't know if you want to answer cash questions, Andre, or I can keep firing.
Yeah, I can answer cash questions.
Okay. All right. So you want Will Benson or Luis Garcia, Fanduel Cash 3-man. Is that Luis Garcia on Washington? The hitter? Benson or Garcia? We're scraping the barrel here. It's rough.
Benson.
One more for you, Andre. Fanduel Cash, Correa is a 2v2. Correa and Thomas. I like both of those. Or Mlb Dfs and Varsho. I like Varsho. Diaz, I guess he's in a good lineup.
Cash. So if it's cash, dang, that's tough. I'm gonna say I probably lean the first one, but I don't mind the second one as well.
Gonna put a stack game. 1, you hate this stack. 5, you love this stack. Give me a number. Put a number on it. Tim, you're gonna go first. Andre, you're gonna go second. Tim, the Dodgers.
2.8.
I love it. Andre?
I'm gonna give them 6 today.
Wait, a 6 above a 5. We're going 5.
I thought it was 1 through 5.
1 through 5. So I thought it was 1
You
through
love
10.
the Dodgers.
Sorry.
And
The Dodgers, I'm gonna give them a 3.5. My bad.
2.8's a professional score for sure. Hey, Tim, just bringing in Aaron's got a question. Correa or Pena for FanDuel? I don't know if that's cash or tournaments, but that's a tough call.
That's tough because if it's cash, it's probably Correa, but I would strongly prefer a Astros stack with Pena.
I agree with that thought. But Correa is probably like the math answer.
Yeah.
But if you think Houston goes off, have it be Pena.
Yeah, I mean, even in cash, maybe it is Pena. I don't know, but definitely if that's a tournament question, Pena.
All right, let's try to do these as fast as possible because crunch time crew is knocking on the door. Tim, you're first. Andre, you're second. 1 through 5. 5, you love it. 1, you hate it. Sam Fran.
3.4.
Andre?
4.
Detroit.
1.
Leverage. I'm told leverage is a thing, no? Yeah.
0.
Yeah. Kansas City?
0.
They're like a 2.
Andre's breaking all the rules. Going out of turn, going above 5. Boston, Tim.
2.5.
5.
Pittsburgh?
0.
Yeah.
Same thing here, 0.
Toronto.
4. 3.8. We're gonna go with 3.8.
I'm like 3.5.
You could add a second decimal if you want. Like it's your sure it's not like a 3.87. The Yankees, Tim.
They're definitely like as close as you can get to a 5. They might even be a 5.
4.99.
Yeah.
Refuse to give out a perfect 10.
4.95.
Andre, your Yankees.
5.
Colorado, Tim.
Yeah, they got to be the same. I love Arizona, Colorado, New York. Those are my 3 favorite teams. And I think, given the ownership, it gives a huge bump to New York.
Andre?
I'll give them 5 as well.
What
about the White Sox, Tim?
Man.
I don't know. I mean, on paper it's a good spot, but I think that there's so many better teams tonight to go with. So they're just kind of middle of the board for me.
I definitely want to say like a 3.5, but they just are always disappointing. I might just have to give them. I'm just gonna give them a 2, and just
Tim,
take
one
this.
more. Tim, one more question. You got Escobar or Longoria FanDuel tournament? Escobar or Longo?
Can you repeat that, Dean? I'm sorry.
Escobar or Longo FanDuel tournament?
Escobar.
All right. We got the Crunch Time crew knocking on the door. We got Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth, SDL Cards, DerekCarty. They were chanting for you earlier in the show. We got Carty showing us up again, like with the collar, all dressed up, making us all look like slackers and schlubs. What's up, Roth? You didn't get the memo as far as the collar today?
I mean, I should know if Carty's on the show. I mean, maybe break out a suit jacket. Got to slick the hair back. Got to get fancy when Carty's on the show.
Yeah. Well, what's up, Carty? How are things in your world?
Things are good. Things are good. Getting ready for football now. The Blitz is officially launched. You can buy your copy of it at RotoGrinders right now. RotoGrinders.com/the-blitz. It's pretty good.
Yeah, man. Are you excited for football season?
Yeah, I am. Still have a lot of baseball left to go, which is great, but this is always a fun time of year.
Carty, is there going to be sorry, Dino, is there going to be a Blitz X? We've got the Bat and the Bat X. Is there thoughts already of a Blitz X Extreme?
A Blitz Extreme.
Yeah.
At some point, potentially. The Bat X was kind of when I rolled in a pretty big upgrade. So I have some thoughts for that for the Blitz, but it won't be this year.
Okay. And you're not going to share like what could potentially be in it. That's secret.
No.
That's confidential.
Totally confidential.
While we're on the topic of football, I have a rant.
Oh.
My whole timeline is freaking out about the Detroit Lions and their potential because they scored on their first preseason drive. I can't handle this with the Twitter and the preseason games. Like, the Lions have not won a playoff game since I was 7. I'm 38 now. So, I mean, let's calm down after one preseason drive. Like, the Ravens have won 21 preseason games in a row. So if it really matters, why doesn't Lamar have a bunch of rings already? I don't get the freaking out over a preseason drive against the Falcons, no less.
I think people wanted a reason because it feels like they're a team that a lot of people think are like sneaky this year. And you see the first preseason drive and you get excited.
It's the Lions.
Yeah, I know.
They have to prove they're not the Lions first.
It's not unlike Twitter to freak out over like little things. That's so weird.
I know, but it's
strange.
People don't freak out over a guy that hits 2 homers in a spring training game. Why are we freaking out about one preseason NFL drive?
But that's the nature of NFL, is that week to week, whatever happens, everyone thinks that's the thing. And the fact that it carries even into preseason on one single drive is hilarious. But that's what we do in NFL. We overreact.
I mean, I just happened to scroll. Had a few minutes before we logged on, scrolling down. Oh man, the Lions are going to be so much fun to watch this year. All right, let's go.
Did you not see the Jamal Williams clip when he was like breaking it down with his team, like broke down and cried, basically how passionate he was?
Is that why? Is it because they're on Hard Knocks? Is that why?
I'm sure there's to some extent, like for sure. And the Lions, I think nobody hates the Lions. Everybody wants them to be good. Like if it's not their team, let's root for the Lions. Like they deserve it. It's been a long time. The Wayne Font era was rough. Barry Sanders retired on them early. I think Herman Moore did as well. But yeah,
I mean, I live in Bears Packers country, so that sentiment doesn't really resonate in this neck of the woods. But I realize that I'm in the Midwest. So,
Tim, Andre, you got anything else with the boys before we step aside and get out of here?
I think we're good.
We are stepping aside. I'm going to make our lineups myself. Tim, Andre, we do thank you all for hitting that like button, for watching, for subscribing, for staying for the FanDuel sponsor Crunch Time, which starts now with Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth.
It does indeed. Thank you, Dino and the crew. Excellent show as always. And this is it. As Dean mentioned, this is Crunch Time sponsored by FanDuel. If you're not getting in that FanDuel single entry series, what are you doing? It's back. It's better than ever. $50K in bonus cash up for grabs. We're in week 3 now, closing out week 3. Still got 4 weeks left after this. Top 4 scores in each week count towards your combined score. Top finisher in each series gets an all-expenses paid trip to the single entry series championship in Chicago, September 9th. A shot at the $10,000 grand prize. And to help you make those proper choices here for cash, single entry, and mass GPPs, joined by 2 of the sharpest minds in the biz. One, Mr. DerekCarty. He is assistant director of the BAT. Welcome, Carty.
assistant director of my own projection system.
That's right. You're an
Roth is
assistant
really
to
pissed at
yourself.
me right now about something. I don't know what, but there's something going on.
Yeah. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right.
Okay. Well, excellent to have you as always. We also have the one and only STL Cards. I know he's happy because I just looked at the standings here, and there is St. Louis sitting atop the division by a whopping half game. You feeling good about it or no?
Well, they're ahead by a half game against the team that they play this weekend. So you ask me Sunday night, I'll let you know how I'm doing. It's a pretty big series this weekend for the old franchise. So hopefully they can pull it out. But yeah, can't complain about the last couple weeks, but they got to beat the Brewers this weekend. So.
Okay, you want to be the best, you got to beat the team who's not really the best, but you got to beat them anyways. Okay, guys, happy to have you here. Happy to talk some MLB. There's no weather at all. I want more of these days. There's literally no weather to discuss. Winds are blowing out in San Francisco, but it's a park that minimizes impact. So I looked at Weather Edge just to see what the impact has been over 254 games of similar weather at San Francisco. We've seen an 11% increase in home runs, 6% in total runs. That's fine. That's nothing to write home about, but, it's fine weather. The issue is it's still in the 60s there. It's as compared to some other locations where it's much warmer. I don't love it as a spot for the bats, but these guys will tell you what they do love. And we like to start with a little bit of a pitcher breakdown. So DerekCarty, if you wouldn't mind, for promotion to Vice Director of the Bat, will you? Sorry, I'm being a jerk. Will you help break down some of the pitchers here?
Yeah. So tonight we kind of have a pretty clear top tier, and then it kind of just gradually descends. That below them. So Scherzer and Rodon are like head and shoulders above everybody else. They're the most talented pitchers on the slate. They're both in pretty good spots. Both high strikeout guys. Both long leashes. So you don't have to overthink it really. Like they're your top pitchers on DraftKings and cash. I think you just pair them and that's it because they're just so much better than everybody else. On FanDuel, you can play either one. They project very similarly. Rodon's a little bit cheaper, but really either one is totally fine. After that, you have a bunch of guys who project pretty good. Like there are other ways to go in tournaments. None of them really project like super under-owned is the problem. You have like Michael Kopech against Detroit, which is a really good matchup. You have Luis Garcia against Oakland, which is a really good matchup. You have Jordan Montgomery, super underpriced on DraftKings at 6.8K against Milwaukee. You have Clevenger, you have Maley. Like they're all kind of pretty similar tonight. And again, none sticks out from like an ownership standpoint. I'd say on FanDuel, maybe Kopech or Montgomery are the guys that I'd lean to as my pivots off of Scherzer and Rodon. But, that's kind of it. You can throw Patrick Sandoval into the mix. You can throw Berrios into the mix. There's a lot of viable tournament pitchers tonight. You can go all the way down to Austin Voth if you want tonight, and that's fine. There's lots of ways to pivot.
Okay, great. Cards, let's get your pitcher takes here. I imagine you love the top. The question is, which of those other guys do you think can put up a performance that kind of competes with a Scherzer or a Rodon? Or either any of those guys down there that can put up the numbers?
I don't think that kind of number, especially if you're looking to get away from both of them. One of them is bound to have a really good start. Rodon is the more inconsistent pitcher generally, but he's facing the Pirates at home, and he's a huge favorite. The knock on Rodon used to be that, the knock on using pitchers against the Pirates, not just Rodon specifically, but the knock against using pitchers against the Pirates used to be that the Pirates didn't strike out a whole lot because they had a lot of weak hitters that generally at least made contact. They didn't do much with it, but they generally at least made contact. Now that's kind of changed as they've called up some of their younger players. They've changed their personnel around a little bit to where maybe they're slightly more dangerous than they used to be, but they're also striking out a lot more. So if you filter over the last 30 days, the Pirates have the fourth highest strikeout rate in the league. And when you combine just their general weak offense, it's really hard to see this being one of the spots where Rodon just completely blows up. Both Scherzer and Rodon have strikeout props that are 7.5 with significant juice on the over. So basically, projecting around 8 strikeouts tonight. And you're not going to get that level of safety with the other guy, safety and upside with the other guys. Garcia is very safe. I'm never going to call Kopech safe, and I'm not really a Kopech guy, but against Detroit would be the one spot where maybe you can use him. I like Clevinger better on DraftKings, and I like Montgomery better on DraftKings. They're both very cheap on DK. I don't think you probably need to go there on FanDuel. On FanDuel, it's probably just Garcia if I'm going away from Scherzer and Rodon, another huge home favorite with a good matchup. So he's probably my other guy on FanDuel. Clevinger and Montgomery on DraftKings, I think, are fine as well.
Okay, excellent. Any other names you want to throw in, or you both feel pretty good about naming everybody?
Yeah, I think Molly's fine too. Other than that, like just Austin Voth, Carty mentioned him. I just don't think you need to go there. Maybe as an SP2 on DraftKings, but Montgomery and Clevinger are cheap enough that basically you only need to do that if you're looking to go full on Coors plus other top bats. So, which is certainly viable.
Okay, excellent. Well, let's talk about some of the top bats and cards. Since you ended there, you can start there as well. What are we doing stack-wise?
Yeah, so we've got 2 really low strikeout pitchers in Coors Field tonight, which is just a problem for looking to get outs. And all 3 games of the homestand for the Rockies so far against the Cardinals were all fairly high scoring. So we probably are going to see quite a bit of ownership there. But it's kind of chalk that I'm willing to eat a little bit tonight, just because you've got a 12-run total and 2 low strikeout pitchers. Not that the offenses are elite by any means, but if you had the Braves going into Coors Field, or you had the Dodgers going into Coors Field, I mean, you're paying a lot more for those offenses than you are for, say, Arizona, where, see if I filter by Arizona now on the screen share, you've got 2,500, 2,600, 2,700, 3,200, 3,400. So the Diamondbacks are reasonably affordable on both FanDuel and DraftKings against a guy with like a 13% strikeout rate. So I don't eat the Coors chalk a ton, but this is a big slate. You can see we don't really have any of the hitters in this game projected over like 12% ownership on FanDuel. I do think that's a little bit low. I think they'll be slightly higher than that, but not a ton, because you've got Houston in a good spot. You've got the Dodgers in a good spot. You've got the Padres in a good spot, and all those teams have run totals above 5 as well. We know the upside that the Yankees have. So those are some pivots away. Even maybe the Giants, if you're looking for a team that's a little more off the board. But I am going heavy on the Coors game tonight.
Okay, Carty, what say you, and what say the bat?
Yeah, Coors is obviously great tonight. They are going to be owned, but like Card said, maybe not like super owned. I like the Rocky side more than the Diamondback side, and the ownership seems pretty similar. Maybe Rocky's a hair more owned, but I think the Rocky side's a little better. But I think the Padres are every bit as good as the Rockies. They don't project to be quite as owned, so I do like them quite a bit. I think the other team I'd kind of throw into that, like, 1B tier, with Arizona would be Houston. They're in a really good spot tonight against Adam Oller. And then I do think there are some offenses that are kind of close to Coors, like not like there, but like good offenses that are going to be really under-owned tonight. You have like the Yankees, you have the Red Sox, the White Sox. There's quite a few offenses like that. The Giants tonight that are in really good spots and are just not going to see much ownership at all, because it is going to kind of go towards Coors, a little towards Padres, a little towards Astros. And there's some of these good offenses that are really going to be overlooked, like especially against a guy like Eovaldi. Like, people aren't going to play the Yankees, and the Yankees the Yankees are great tonight.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good stuff. All right. Let's go position by position. And Carty, you can lead us off. Little catcher talk, if you will, and if we want it, on FanDuel.
Yeah. So top catcher on the slate tonight is going to be Will Smith for the Dodgers. He's expensive on DraftKings. You definitely don't have to get up there. He's $5K, But the Dodgers are in a good spot. They're against a bad lefty with a wide platoon split in Lynch. And so Will Smith, being such a good hitter to begin with, is a really good play. Sorry. If you need to save money, which obviously is viable, you have Brian Serven for the Rockies tonight at 2.9K, and he's super underpriced. He'll be pretty high owned, I would imagine. And, he's a good cash option to save some money. I like Smith, like I said, and then I like guys in your stacks. Kirk in a Toronto stack, stuff like that. Christian Vasquez maybe in that Houston stack I mentioned, that sort of thing.
Okay, cards.
Yeah, not a ton to add at catcher. Not the strongest position tonight. So, on FanDuel, you're going to see most people you're going to see people playing a first baseman, and then if you're going to use Varsho, you're going to use him in the outfield. So, or at utility. So you're going to see him with catcher owner share on the screen share on FanDuel, but it's not that people are rostering him at catcher. I think Kirk is still viable on FanDuel, even though he's not going to have a lot of ownership tonight. At 2,800, that price tag is pretty reasonable. Like, that's only 300 more than Serven, who's just terrible. I think Kirk is probably your other FanDuel option. And then on DraftKings in general, you can use whoever's in your stack. Paying up for Will Smith, I think, is okay, but salary's at a premium tonight. So punting, is more viable on DK with some of those lower salary options that Carty mentioned. On FanDuel, for me, it's probably either Kirk or you're not playing a catcher.
Okay, take me to first base.
All right. First base is interesting. A number of value options here tonight. Brandon Belt is pretty cheap everywhere. And as of the time we came on the air, the Giants lineup wasn't out yet. So I'm going to make sure that that's still not out now. I still haven't seen it. So, he should be in there against a really, really bad righty. The Giants are all, for the most part, cheap everywhere. So keep an eye out for that lineup. Like, Wade is cheap, Belt is cheap. You're probably going to get a ton of kind of mid 2K hitters in that lineup tonight. Gurriel's hitting second for Houston. He's cheap. So you're actually going to see a lot of people choosing to maybe save money here. And it's interesting because I think Christian Walker is one of the better plays on the slate. You've got a low strikeout pitcher and a guy that likes to try to get ground balls. That's really the only skill Senzatella has. But you can get a fly ball hitter and get one in the air in Coors Field against a pitcher that's not going to blow the ball by him. I think Walker is really interesting tonight. So a night where, you can mix and match a little bit. You do have those value options. I do like Walker, Josh Bell, Crone at the top if you're looking to spend. Okay.
Carty, first.
Yeah, Walker and Crone are kind of the top guys. You can throw Ohtani into the mix on DraftKings. He's super expensive, but he projects really low owned, so I do like him a lot in tournaments. Cards mentioned Josh Bell on FanDuel at 3.2K. San Diego's great tonight. Bell is great. I like him. Brandon Belt is too cheap on both sites, but in particular on FanDuel. And then on DraftKings, the cheap guy is Montero for Colorado, hitting sixth, 2.7K. He's certainly fine to save some money with. Maybe better at third than at first, but he's definitely in the mix here.
Take me to second.
Yeah, so we have Ketel Marte in Coors, who's going to be the top guy. Him and Brendan Rodgers, are going to definitely pick up some ownership. I like Jose Altuve a good amount as an expensive guy that won't be quite as owned as the other two are, but he's every bit as good as they are tonight. Cronenworth for San Diego, Drury for San Diego in your stacks. Cronenworth in particular on FanDuel, though, at 3K is a really good value play, really good cash play. We still have Christian Arroyo on DraftKings for the minimum, and it's a good spot. It's in Fenway. It's the best non-course park in baseball. He's facing Herman, who has not really looked great in his 4 starts this year. And 2K is really good for a guy who can hit a home run, who's not going to be super owned. I like him in tournaments. I like him in cash. That's second.
Okay. Cards, second.
And not a whole lot to add there. You do have Aledmys Diaz on FanDuel that you can use at 3 different positions. at 2,500. So again, even with Coors and the high end pitching tonight, it's still fairly easy to navigate making lineups, particularly on FanDuel. Cronenworth, I like him as well. So most of the same options. Drury's really expensive, but maybe a little bit contrarian if you're looking to get away from Marte. But again, I do like the Coors bats tonight, so I will be in on Marte and the Diamondbacks. So agree with most of those plays that second.
All right, take me to
Also,
third.
Glaber Torres in your Yankee stacks because Yankees are super under-owned tonight.
Great. Okay. Cards, take me to third base, sir.
Yeah, third I think is interesting tonight because it's not the same names that we are used to seeing. Like a lot of slates, it's been Arenado, it's been Austin Riley, and it's been Devers. And those guys really aren't in bad spots tonight. I mean, Arenado is facing a lefty in Lauer, and Arenado has great splits against lefties. Devers is facing Domingo Germán, who hasn't been good, in his handful of starts this year. It's really interesting to see kind of the dynamics that, okay, well, now people are on tours. Montero, a little bit of a bind on FanDuel because you can only play him at third, whereas you can play him at first on DK as well. But I like some of those contrarian options tonight. Give me Devers at, less than 10% ownership. Josh Donaldson hitting cleanup. I know he hasn't been that great, but he's only 2,700 on FanDuel. Arenado against the lefty all the way down at like 4% ownership tonight. LeMahieu leading off. You can play him at a bunch of different positions is 3-4% owned. So this is a spot where I think it's really good to get different in GPPs. Not that I have a problem with Montero, not that I have a problem with Ryan McMahon or Machado, but you're getting a lot of potential 2-home run upside at low ownership in GPPs tonight. So in cash games, yeah, you're probably playing Montero, McMahon, Machado, but I like the pivots in tournaments tonight.
Carty, I feel like you just fully agree with everything that was said.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Montero's clearly the cash guy on DraftKings. Even on FanDuel, he's fine. Donaldson is super cheap on FanDuel too. I like him a lot in tournaments. I think he's viable in cash also. On DK, I like Donaldson a lot in tournaments. In Yankee stacks, I like Devers. Jose Ramirez as ways to spend up to be different kind of thing tonight. So yeah, I'm pretty much on the same page. Jose Miranda as a value guy too on DraftKings.
All right, take me to shortstop.
Trey Turner's the top guy. The Dodgers are in a really good spot. Lynch is really bad. Like I said, a lefty with a wide split. So Turner with the platoon advantage there projects quite well. Probably not in cash. But you can think about it. Really, though, I think you're probably saving some money, especially on DraftKings. You have Brandon Crawford. We don't have that Giants lineup yet, but Brandon Crawford is like a pretty good hitter. Like last year, he was really good, even though he was overperforming. He's 2K against Bryce Wilson. He's the minimum, and that's really good tonight. So there isn't like a great Coors guy. Like Jose Iglesias kind of isn't like awesome, not really. He's a little overpriced. Like there's not a Coors guy that you have to get here. So I think if you go down to guys like Crawford on DraftKings, on FanDuel, down to like Ha-Sung Kim or Ledmus Diaz in those spots that we've talked about. Javi Baez is always really cheap on FanDuel. And on FanDuel too, Carlos Correa is kind of the high-end guy that's too cheap, 2.9K with the platoon advantage against Sandoval. Correa is great. And I really like Bobby Witt on FanDuel in tournaments. He projects a 2% ownership, and he's good and reasonably priced.
Okay. Cards, your favorite shortstops, please.
Yeah, I like some of those plays. Crawford for really cheap, especially if you're stacking the Giants tonight, which I do like in some tournament builds. Correa, pretty cheap on FanDuel. Bogarts even at 3,200 is fairly affordable. So, and Carty mentioned Witt as well. So those are really good tournament options tonight. In cash games, it's probably going to come down to your salary. Like I wouldn't force Trey Turner in. If he fits your lineup, great. But I maybe prioritize spending on some of the other guys. And then if you end up where you only have a value salary left at short, then maybe instead of Turner, you go to Correa. If you're having trouble, rounding out your lineup. But those are the plays that I like. Like Iglesias is maybe the one Colorado bat that you probably don't need to prioritize at 3,200 on FanDuel. He's been a really solid hitter for them since they moved him into the 2 spot, but it's not like he's going to hit for a ton of power. So Of course, you can play him in some Colorado stacks, but I don't think you need to play him individually. So Turner, Correa, Crawford, Bogarts, those are some of my guys.
Okay, that brings us to the outfield, and we still have 13 or so minutes left, so plenty of time to talk about your favorite plays there. I see my boy Yordong's got like basically the rainbow going on there.
Yeah, he's got the dots going. So he's definitely in the mix as the top spend in the outfield. I think it'll be close for a lot of people between Alvarez and Juan Soto. You're not really doing it wrong either way. This looks like Soto projects just a little bit better. He's also a little bit cheaper on FanDuel. And I'm not sure. Yeah, I do have the bat projection. So Carty's going to tell you to play Soto over Alvarez because Soto's cheaper and he projects about 1.5 points higher. In tournaments, I think you're fine with either guy. You can also get almost all of the Arizona guys are relatively value priced tonight. You got Jake McCarthy hitting 6th. You've got Cooper Hummel hitting 7th. They're both in the 2Ks on FanDuel. Alec Thomas is a little more expensive hitting 2nd, but it's not like he's outrageously priced. So you get maybe one of those air value bats. You take your preference of Soto and Alvarez, and then you can kind of mix and match from there. That's probably what most of my builds are gonna have. If Jock Peterson is in the Giants lineup tonight, I think he's fine. We talked about Varsho at catcher. Eloy Jimenez is only 2,900 on FanDuel. I don't mind maybe taking a shot on somebody like Dylan Carlson or Tyler O'Neill in tournaments. They've been better against lefties this year. That's most of my plays.
Okay, Carty, favorite outfield plays?
Yeah, it's a lot of what Card said. Like Soto projects really, really well tonight. Grisham in the same lineup for cheap as a way to save money. You also have a bunch of cheap guys in cores. You know, you have Hilliard for the Rockies. You have Cooper Hummel. You have Dalton Varsho. You have a lot of good guys like that tonight. AJ Pollock on FanDuel projects as a really good value play. Lead off against Norris, platoon advantage. Shohei Ohtani, I love in tournaments. He projects 2% ownership on DraftKings, I think 4% on FanDuel, and he projects as like the 2nd or 3rd best outfielder of the night. Like he's just egregiously under-owned tonight, so I like Ohtani a lot. And then I like the stuff in the stacks. You know, I like Judge, Benintendi in Yankee stacks. I like Tommy Pham, Verdugo type stuff in Red Sox stacks, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Excellent. Hey, let's talk stacks in general. One stack to win it all. And Carty, I'm going to guess yours. Single entry, you would plug in a Yankee stack. Yeah,
I'll say Yankees. I mean, Coors is better, but Yankees are going to be more under-owned than Coors is.
Okay. Cards, you would go with is it Diamondbacks, the other team in Colorado?
Yeah, they are probably my favorite, but again, if you're worried about the ownership a little bit, I do like the Giants as a lower-owned team.
Okay, good stuff. Carty nodding in agreement. Gentlemen, we have 10 minutes to pick up some QQs, so let's do it. I want to start with Watsamata, who said, oh, what's the matter? I get it. What's the matter? What's the matter? He says, hey, any home run picks tonight, fellas?
Ohtani.
I love that one.
If you're prop betting, also Ohtani.
Okay, great. Cards, you got a favorite?
I will go with Nolan Arenado. I do like the Cardinals righties tonight. I'll be a slight homer with that pick, but I think you get pretty good odds on some of their home run calls. I think the Yankees are viable, like somebody like Torres and Donaldson against. And those Yankees Red Sox games often go off the rails, and it's probably about time that we see one of those 10-6, 4.5 hour Yankee Red Sox games. So Torres, Donaldson, Arenado, there's a few.
Okay. I'll be a homer as well. I'll say Yordan Alvarez, even though I'm sure he's like not great odds on that bet.
You just have to say Eugenio Suarez.
Eugenio Suarez, baby. I am the Suarez whisperer. Okay. Hey, MT Red Sox says, hey, Cards, is Seattle going overlooked tonight? I'm only asking because I asked you the same question a few days ago about Colorado, and they ended up putting up 16 runs. And so I'm trying to keep that mojo going. Essentially, I don't think he cares what you say. He just wants
he's going to do it anyway. He doesn't care. Whatever I say is irrelevant. So, I mean, speaking of Mr. Suarez, Winker's got a pretty cheap price tag on FanDuel. Julio Rodriguez is back, so that's a big boost to that lineup. Frankly, I probably didn't even mention the Seattle bat as we went through. It's not like they're facing a good pitcher tonight. They're all going to be 3, 4, 5% owned. So it's a deep slate. So, I mean, it's hard to just gush over every team. So obviously they're not in my top 3 or 4, but I do think there's some upside there tonight.
Yeah, the bat definitely thinks they're viable tonight.
Great. Okay, good stuff. All right, let's go to Carty with a little DK cash question from Achilles, Betancourt and Hilliard, or Servin and Luis Gonzalez.
Probably rather Servin, Hilliard, and then figure it out from there. But I guess Servin, Luis Gonzalez.
Okay, great. FanDuel cash cards. You okay taking a few cash questions just so we can hop back and forth? All right, FanDuel cash. Do I punt La Stella at second to get up to Soto and Yordan? Rather, I can punt La Stella at second, get up to Soto and Yordan. Do you sign off on that?
In cash, yeah, it's tough just because La Stella is the obvious pinch hit risk. And is that lineup even out yet? I don't think it is. I mean, he will probably, it's still not out. If La Stella's in there and leading off, like, he's fine because he's 2,200 on FanDuel. And if it helps you get Alvarez and Soto, it's fine. Yes. Long answer to the short question. I don't mind it, but there is some risk with him being pinch hit for.
Okay, great. DK Cash, Carty coming to you. This is, let's see, 2v2, Alvarez and Luis Gonzalez, or Tucker and Alec Thomas?
I guess Tucker and Alec Thomas.
All right. NBA DFS says cards, FanDuel Cash, A. Diaz and A. Thomas, or Correa and Profar?
I would give a slight lean to the second one, but that's pretty close.
Okay. DK's single entry GPP. Carty, you want Servin, Ruiz, or Trevino? Okay, so a cheap one off in a DK single entry. Servin, Ruiz, or Trevino? Trevino?
Yeah, Trevino. Servin is the best play of them, but he's going to be considerably higher owned. So depends on the rest of your lineup.
Okay, great. FanDuel GPP, Tyler Mahle or Clevenger. P.S. I can't use Garcia cards because I've got Astros in my lineup already.
Yeah. I like Clevenger a little more on DK. On FanDuel, I'd probably take Mahle.
Okay. Well, just absolutely loving this question from a side. And, of course, Tatis suspended for PEDs.
No way. I hadn't seen that.
I haven't heard that unless
everybody's gushing over the Lions. I'm sure somebody would have noticed it.
80 games.
It might have just come out this second.
Yeah, I think that may have
3 minutes ago, Jeff Passan. Wow.
That is hilarious. The Padres go all in. They trade the whole farm for Juan Soto. I think they're 3-7 since then, and now that but Tatis is coming back to save their bacon, and now he's not. I'm sorry, I don't really care for the Padres, but that's pretty funny if you ask me.
Oof, man, that's brutal. Okay. Anyways, before we got that news, Aside said, "Hey, you can only have one narrative for the night. Is it?" And Carty, I'm giving this to you because I know you don't love narratives, but you are forced to choose one here. Forced to choose one narrative. Is it Juan Soto revenge narrative or Ohtani bobblehead night? I didn't even know it was bobblehead night.
The door's that way. Just out.
You got to pick
Carty
one.
despises the very premise of this question.
I like Soto more overall. It has nothing to do with whatever the narratives are.
Okay, fine.
Bobblehead and revenge. Soto's the better play, but in tournaments, Ohtani is going to be so low owned, like much lower owned than he should be. So I would take Ohtani in tournaments.
Give me the bobblehead, Roth. Give me the bobblehead.
Thank you. That's what I want to see. That's it. I don't care if Soto's the better play. If it's my bobblehead night, I am absolutely going yard. 100%.
You know,
going
Ohtani
yard
does
on
not want to
Bob.
let the bobblehead folks down.
No, of course not. By the way,
And why
speaking
is
of silly
Tatis
narratives,
suspended? By the way, he hasn't even played. What is he doing?
yeah,
He hasn't played all year. I know we don't have
They're
time.
doing
for this.
rehab games. Maybe they test him like in preparation for him getting
He
activated.
needs to get
or-
ready for that AAA rehab start.
Oof, brutal. Okay, let me take a few of these questions, and then I do have a narrative note that someone wrote me that I thought was pretty funny. So I'll try and find it. But in the meantime, GD says, FanDuel GPP cards, you like L. Wade or Pollock?
I like Wade. I really like him tonight. I tagged him up in lineup HQ, and I like the Giants. So yeah, most of those Giants questions as cheap plays, it's probably going to be my answer.
Okay. DK Cash, Carty, we're looking for a cheapie in the outfield, 3,300 or below. I've already got Yordong and Varsho.
Trent Grisham.
Nice with the quickness there. CLT Go Blue says cards in my Houston stack, DKGPP. Do I go Diaz Pena or Bregman Dubon? They're the same amount of money.
First one.
Okay, great. Okay, he was suspended for Cloister Ball, which is a ball from Cloister the Pokemon. Oh, that's good stuff, Carty. That is excellent timing. All right, I've got a little bit of time. So I was talking about the corn sweat narrative for this MLB, Field of Dreams game, and how last year it was really humid, really high dew point in the cornfields. You get these crazy dew points, and this year it was not very humid. So I was like, all right, I'm not all about it. And someone wrote me and they said, I think there's going to be home runs, a lot of them, because players think it's so cool to hit home runs into the corn. Like, don't you think they always think it's cool to hit home runs? Like,
No, like if you're playing in Field of Dreams, maybe for like the only time in your career, like I would definitely try to hit a home run into the
okay, so
I would
you're
fill
all
that
right.
court entirely.
I have two takeaways from this. One, did you see, Roth, that John Smoltz actually broke that down on the broadcast last night?
The corn sweat?
Yes, he did. I thought they were going to reference you. He broke it down so similarly to how you did last year. He broke down the humidity coming off the corn and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, I did not see it, but I feel like I should have been credited for that. This was my narrative.
Yeah,
I made it up.
Probably should have been. So, unfortunately, it'd be really hard for you to find the clip because then like 30 minutes later, that John Smoltz, they announced that his dad died that same day, and he still broadcasted the game, which was, quite the story, and I'm sure hard for him to do. And then B, I'm very disappointed that the Reds lost the game. They have two players named Farmer on their team, and they still lost. So all narratives out the window for that one.
That's a big fail. That's a big fail that you've got two Farmers and you couldn't pull that one off. DK Cash, Carty, last question here. 3v3 for you. Betancourt, Tucker Thomas, or Servin, Yordong, Gonzalez?
Man, people love Luis Gonzalez.
Yeah, where's all the questions on him coming from? I noticed that
I
last
don't
show.
get it. I mean, for what it's worth, I mean, he's got a little bit of a pinch hit risk. I mean, he's 2K, I guess, but it's not like he's leadoff tonight. He's hitting 8th. I think oh no, we don't have the lineup officially yet. Unless, did it come in? Is he hitting leadoff? No, we don't have it yet. If he's hitting leadoff, he's more appealing. If he's at the back of the order, like we're projecting, I really don't love Luis Gonzalez tonight, guys. Like, I guess I go with that side. He's fine, but there's plenty of guys that are like 2.5 that are much better.
Okay. Servin, I think Servin's going to be 80% owned. I think every question had Servin in it, and he was the answer in every one of them. All right. STL, be honest. As an agriculture accountant, is a good start to the question here.
Yeah.
Were you evaluating corn futures during the game last night? Were you analyzing the corn itself, or were you just enjoying the baseball?
They also did, when he broke down the corn sweat narrative, about 5 minutes after that, they broke down that they used a different hybrid of corn in those fields this year to help, the soil grows differently and stuff if you use different hybrids on an annual basis. So the corn this year isn't quite as tall as it was last year. So it didn't look like as visually appealing, I guess.
Yeah.
From the outside, because the corn wasn't quite as tall this year. Other than that, I mean, the corn futures have done really well over the past year. So the farmers are not complaining.
Okay, there's the answer. I saw just maybe the intro clip of them walking through the corn, and I thought,
That's
I'm
not as
no
tall.
corn expert, but I was like, that doesn't look like the best corn I've ever seen. It looks
It's a
little dry, a little
different
short.
model. Different 2022 models a little different in those fields.
Don't you have to like crop rotate one plot? Because if you plant the same crop, it uses all the same nutrients.
Right. Well, so that's why they're using different hybrids, because they always plant corn in those fields, but some farmers will use, soybeans one year and corn in different. Anyway.
Yeah. Did Carty know all of that?
Yeah, totally. Knew all that.
I don't know. I was just curious.
They better not make it a soybean field one of these years, though, for Field of Dreams.
I don't think they will.
Yeah, we're going to need to move the entire thing somewhere else instead.
Something tells me that the owners of that farm are doing okay, whether they farm that corn or not. But
that's true. Yeah. All right. Hey, with that, guys, we are going to get out of here. Great show, as always, gentlemen. That is the president, CEO of the Bat and the BatX Enterprise, DerekCarty, coming in strong. Of course, STL Cards as well. And our wonderful production team, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.